Happy New Year, everyone. I wish I had a gavel at home. It would make me sound so authoritative. As a mom. So I'm going to call to order our Children, Seniors, and Families Committee. This is Thursday, January 22nd, and I'm going to welcome everyone. I'm also going to look to our clerk to make sure that we have quorum.
All right. Vice Chairperson Yung? Here. And Chairperson Arenas?
Me too.
Thank you. You have a quorum.
Wonderful. Okay, so we're going to move on to public comment. And this is item 2. And so we really, when we talk about public comment, we're only going to take comment on items that are not on our agenda. So make sure they're not on our agenda. Otherwise, you wait for that item to come up. And if you're here in person, please complete the yellow card and place it in the tray. If you're joining us virtually, please make sure that you raise your virtual hand so that we can see you and acknowledge you. Okay, we are going to go ahead and begin. Camille?
So I currently have one request in person and two requests on Zoom.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and take 2 minutes.
2 minutes? Mm-hmm. Okay. So our first speaker is Joanna Kent. Please come forth.
Hi, thank you all. My name is Joanna Kent, and I'm a mother of 2 children, one with a rare disease that's caused him to need 24-hour care. Thankfully, with IHSS, he gets to live safely within our home. I'm also here as the chair of the IHSS in Home Supportive Service Advisory Board. I'm here today, even though I could have called in, to show you the importance of this topic. I'm gonna leave here, I'm gonna run home to meet my son, and spend the rest of the day making sure that he can live his best life because of IHSS. With the governor's newly released proposal for the state budget, there are many concerns among the more than 30,000 recipients and their providers about how the county is going to respond to the proposed budget cuts. Our board would respectfully request meetings in the next few weeks with your offices to share our concerns and begin an open dialogue on how we can continue to ensure that people can safely live in their homes. A program such as IHSS helps to keep our hospitals from overflowing, our communities diverse, families together, while keeping people out of institutions. I know these are priorities for Santa Clara County and this committee. I look forward to the opportunity for open dialogue, and together I am confident that we can find solutions and protect our residents by working as a team. I want to thank you all. Again, my name is Joanna Kent. I am the chair of the IHSS Advisory Board, and I am a District 1 resident. Thank you.
Thank you, and we'll move to our Zoom speakers. Our first speaker on Zoom is Parent. Parent, we are unmuting you. You will have 2 minutes. Please go ahead.
Yes, hello, good afternoon. We have a really big problem in our county in regards to child molestation not being addressed. My own children, they're being sexually molested. My ex-wife was letting a man rape my son beginning of when he was 13. There was unnecessary bathing with the children. There was sexual contact between 2 of the children. And this all causes my children to be withdrawn and anxious all the time, a complete change in their personality. And I can't get the county to conduct a screening for my children. And that's because I have an attorney here. My former attorney is well connected, and she doesn't want the county to conduct a screening, and the county won't do one because of this conflict of interest. And I've done some research online, and I found a lot of other parents complaining about a key small group of attorneys who are covering up the sexual abuse of children. And sometimes my children obviously need screening. They've never got one before, but there are some kids who are getting screenings when sexual abuse is obvious, and the county is working with these attorneys to conceal the abuse. I mean, it's obviously there's corruption involved here, and I don't understand why you guys could stand for it. I mean, we're talking about child molestation. I mean, your lunches should be coming up right now all over the dais, but you guys, you keep a calm demeanor. You continue about your day, about the meeting, like nothing was ever said, and and you don't change anything, and it's horrific. It's horrific. We should be telling all the children to be leaving this county because it's not safe for children here. Thank you so much for your time.
Our next speaker is Paul. Paul, we are unmuting you. You'll have 2 minutes. Please go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. Paul Soto from the Horseshoe. It was interesting to hear Supervisor Arenas talk about she likes to exercise her authority, and especially as a mother. I have a mother too. And believe me, my mother was extremely disappointed by your silence when they did what they did to me inside that chamber. That I will never forget. And I hope to God that you never forget it either, Supervisor Arenas, the way that you sat there silently and watched them do what they did to me. I went to the creek, just not even 24 hours after that, strapped a noose around my neck and tried to hang myself. I was completely naked because that is exactly what this county has done. It stripped me naked of everything, of my dignity, of my honor, of my reputation, everything. And you, Supervisor Arenas, are going to be held to account for that. Secondly, I would like to thank the senora that came in here, Kent. I too am a recipient of IHSS, and this county needs to start actually putting some action behind their rhetoric when it comes to racial equity. Well, racial equity within the context of IHSS should be a priority. So if you want to exercise your authority, Supervisor Arenas, and you want to exercise your power as a woman, I suggest you use that in the direction of IHSS and their budget, because I don't want to hear this rhetoric about, oh, we need to make tough decisions. No, Charlie, you need to make the right decision, not the tough decision. You need to make the right decision. And the right decision is that you make sure and ensure that there is enough monies in there to compensate everybody that is an IHS recipient, myself included. Thank you.
That concludes public comment.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you, Mr. Soto, for your comments. Listen, when I started the meeting, I joked around, and this is in jest. Obviously, I'm not an authoritative mother, and my background is in human development and early childhood, and I absolutely value the autonomy of children and the freedom for them to express themselves and to question authority each and every day, which is what I ask my kids to do. I'm sorry to hear that experience for you, and I appreciate your comments. I'm also going to read something so that we all are on the same page about some of the comments that you may hear. Because California law prohibits the disclosure of information related to an investigation of a suspected child abuse or neglect, we are not authorized by law to speak to the specifics of any particular case, no matter how horrendous the allegations are. California law requires child welfare departments to immediately cross-report physical and sexual abuse of children to law enforcement and the district attorney so that swift action can be taken when needed. The public can be assured that our county takes all allegations of child abuse and neglect seriously. That includes rapid and cross-agency responses to such allegations by the Department of Family and Children's Services, local law enforcement, the Children's Advocacy Center, and the district attorney. And for those of you who may have somebody that you're thinking about and would like to report, that phone number is 833-722-5437. Thank you so much. So we are going to continue with our regular agenda, which is to approve the consent calendar and the changes to the committee agenda. I am going to ask my co-chair to integrate item 8 for a deferral under this item, but I also wanted to let the public know that there are a number of items. So if you've come to speak on some of these items, I would like to just let you know that some of them will be on consent. And if your item is in consent, then this is the time for you to speak. So I'm just going to list those really quickly because you may not have an agenda in front of you. This is item 11. Well, item 8 is going to go into a deferral, so no one will be able to speak on item 8 until a future, if this is approved, until a future meeting. Under consent will be item 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. And so if you've come to speak on any of those items, if you want to take a moment to figure out whether that's the item that you're speaking on, this is the time to speak, because I am going to ask for a motion from my co-chair, and then we're going to ask for public comment from our clerk. All right.
So moved.
And I will second that. And that includes the item 8 for deferral, correct? Wonderful. All right, Camille.
Okay, so I currently have 2 cards in my hands for the consent calendar items. Just checking. Okay, and I also have 1 hand raised on Zoom, so a total of 3. Okay, so we'll go ahead and call first the speakers in person. Vanessa Souza and Edith Gong.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Vanessa Souza, Senior Manager of Community Engagement for the Alzheimer's Association. I'm also a county resident and the caregiver for my own aging parents living in the county. And as you probably well know, Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia are rising at a really alarming rate, including tens of thousands of individuals and families here in Santa Clara County. As the population lives longer, dementia is becoming one of the greatest public health challenges of our time. Early detection is critical. Alzheimer's does not begin with severe memory loss. It starts years and even decades before symptoms become obvious. And so Creating situations where we can identify changes early allows individuals and families to plan, seek treatment, and access support services sooner, including the ones that they access through our own Department of Aging and Adult Services. Risk reduction is equally important because while there's no cure for Alzheimer's disease now, research like the U.S. Pointer study shows that making changes to your lifestyle can positively impact your brain. Programs like the Senior Nutrition Program provide access to more than just a balanced diet. They provide an opportunity to socialize and a safe, dignified place for people to access resources. In-home supportive services and APS provide safety, security, and supervision to help people remain together in the least restrictive environment possible and help older adults and their families access needed care and services. And through partnerships with community-based organizations like us at the Alzheimer's Association, the Department of Aging and Adult Services helps Santa Clara County residents to access low or no-cost resources that can help manage the incredible cost of living with dementia. The time to act is now before more memories, relationships, and lives are lost. And those of us serving the people of Santa Clara County need to work together to strengthen the system of care in the face of this rising need. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Supervisor Arana, Supervisor Young. I'm Edith Gong, the Director of Public Authority Services by SourceWise. You can see in our annual report, all the metrics and accomplishments of the past fiscal year. But I did want to highlight that our small but really effective team continues to meet our goals and objectives in serving the IHSS consumers and independent providers. Counties that are smaller than ours actually have a larger staff than we do, but we continue to be underfunded and ask the Board of Supervisors to fund the public authority so our wages can be more competitive and our staff are not overworked. The state mandates that provider enrollment takes 90 days or less to complete, and we're really close to being out of compliance. But we've made great strides in lowering the wait time for in-person appointments. But we want to be better so providers can get paid sooner and the consumers can get the care that they need. While I was successful in securing a much larger allocation from the state this fiscal year, we still need additional funding to meet the mandate. I completely understand that the county is under a tremendous fiscal pressure. However, IHSS, as you well know, is a cost savings program and preventative, and it really helps individuals stay out of hospitals and the much more expensive institutional settings. And well, since today is my birthday, I thought I couldn't hurt to ask and put it out there since your wishes do come true sometimes. So I just wanted to thank you for your time and consideration.
And we'll move
Happy birthday.
We'll move to our Zoom speaker. Our speaker is Paul. Paul, we are unmuting you. Please go ahead.
Yes, I'd like to make a correction. My name is Paul Soto, and that's how it reads on Zoom, so I would like my name stated fully as you do other people that are on the dais. Thank you, I'd appreciate that. Paul Soto from the Horseshoe. I want to talk about item 16 regarding food security. Now, the way that I grew up with Chicanas. Okay, now Chicanas, what they did is, and that is a Mexican American, and doesn't necessarily have to have citizenship, but she's got to have ganas, she's got to have guts, she's got to have drive and a motivation to protect 3 areas of her life. Number 1, the seniors, the elders, from food insecurity. It's disgusting that in this county that we still have an issue like that. Food insecurity for seniors? Are you serious? I'm tired of applauding and honoring our seniors. Why don't you start backing that up by financing so that they don't have to live with the indignity of possibly not having any kind of food? It's disgusting in this county, especially for women like Susan Ellenberg. I ain't gonna call her no supervisor. I don't have any respect for her as a supervisor. She's Susan Ellenberg. And it's women like her that make the difficult decisions, as she would put it, to deprive people of that economic. Secondly, the children. The children also need that kind of security. Why? Because anytime the mother stresses out over food insecurity, believe me, that fear and anxiety is transferred down to the children. And then that child starts experiencing the anxiety and insecurity of the mother, not really understanding or comprehending the complexities of the situation that their mother is experiencing. So what I would like is, and I've been demanding this of this county, not asking, but demanding, that a racial equity metric be used in order to support particular budget allocations when it comes to resources?
That concludes public comment.
Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going to look to my co-chair for that motion. Oh, I'm sorry, we made that motion already, so I'm going to look to the clerk now and for her to take our vote. Thank you.
And just to clarify, that is to defer item 8 and to keep 11 to 18, items 11 to 18 and under consent, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Vice Chairperson Yung
Yes.
and Chairperson Arenas.
I'm going to say yes as well.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Wonderful. So we are going to go to our regular agenda. This is starting with item 9, and this is receiving the report relating to the Human Rights Commission recommendation regarding support for reparations for African Americans in Santa Clara County, and to forward this recommendation to the Board of Supervisors. Is there a presentation from commissioners? Is that, we can go ahead and have you sit at the well here.
Thank you for having us here today, the Children and Senior Family Commissioners. My name is Julinda. I represent the Human Rights Commission. I'm also the Social Equity Commissioner, Committee Chair, and also the Reparations Ad Hoc Committee Chair. We strongly urge the commissioners to approve and support the reparations resolution developed by the Human Rights Commissioners Reparations Ad Hoc Committee. This resolution represents a critical step in addressing systemic inequalities and historical harms that continue to impact the health and economic stability and housing security of our Black residents in our county. By endorsing this framework, the Commission reaffirms its commitment to the well-being of the most vulnerable population, ensuring that children grow up in an environment of equity, for our seniors to receive dignity of historical recognition, and families are empowered through proper justice. We ask you to lead with courage and join the growing movement across California to transform this recommendation into actionable policy for Santa Clara County. And as you may know, that a few things have passed in 2025, Senate Bill 518 from Gavin Newsom. We ask you to support that. This Senate bill is designed to recognize the landmarks that were created due to enslavement and under the Civil Rights Department. It also supports Senate Bill 437, which provides up to $6 million for California state universities to develop a research policy of descendants of enslaved persons. There are also two others. There's Assembly Bill 3089, which is also a formal apology for slavery in California. And then lastly, there's Senate Bill 1348, which allows Black institutions to receive incentives and support of our Black students. So again, we are asking you to support the resolution. I believe we submitted a copy of that, and we are just asking you to help support right some wrongs in Santa Clara County. Thank you.
I'm so sorry. Is there any other speakers that?
No, not from the commission.
Not from the commission. Okay, wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jalinda. I appreciate that. So before we begin with a conversation, I will look to Camilla and see if there's any speakers. And I see you holding a couple of cards, so we'll call them up.
So we have, I have 4 speakers for requests to speak in person and 2 online.
So 2 minutes.
2 minutes too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I'll go ahead and read the names here. We have Ann Harris, Renita Fleming, Jeremiah Lindberger, and Devere Foster. Okay. Please go ahead and line up towards the dais. Okay, Okay, you can please go ahead and you may speak in any order.
Good afternoon. My name is Ann Harris, and I am the direct descendant of slaves. My great-grandfather was a slave here. He died at the age of 46. I'm not sure how long we're supposed to have been working on this. I don't remember if we started this conversation 20 years ago. How long ago? But my clock has ran out. I'm going to be 89 this year. So what can you do to expedite this? I don't have the information that I am going to get on exactly what's really going on, what's the process, what's happened so far, what are we really doing here. Having raised 9 children, I have to have the experience to know how to make things happen. So we need to make reparation happen now. We don't need to go through any more long, drawn-out committees and approval for this person and that person. We know what happened. So we need to fix it. There's no more time to wait. There's no point in waiting any longer. We need to decide to get it done. I worked 55 years, paid my bills, paid them on time. Got a good FICO score, but they still prey on me. Thank you very much, but I would like to say also that for the reparations, we need a single meeting for the Black people who are entitled. We
Good afternoon. My name is Lavere Foster, and I represent the African American Community Service Agency. I'm also a member of the Reparations Ad Hoc Committee. I stand before you because over the past several years, my organization and our staff, we've been doing a lot of work to really hear from our community members. We've been able to do research, put on programs to really understand the need for reparations here in our community. And based on everything we've continued to hear, we understand that the time is now. And we've been able to get a lot of community support around this, being able to hear from a lot of people's lived experiences about how long they've had to wait and still not know if reparations can be a thing that they'll see in their own lifetime after being able to deal with systemic racism throughout their lives. I know we live in a county that's really trying to be equitable to all of us that live here. So I really ask that you all just stand with us, continue to listen to our community members, and really see this thing through so we can get it to the Board of Supervisors so our community can continue to come and advocate for something that should be available to all of us. So thank you, and we look forward to hearing your support and answer on this.
Good afternoon. My name is Jeremiah Lamberger, proudly serve and represent the African American Community Service Agency. I also had an opportunity to serve on the Ad Hoc Committee of Reparations. I have been a student for the past 3 years, obtaining my undergraduate, master's, and now my doctorate. And each day I step in class, I don't really see too many people like me or professors or presidents like me. As Lavere stated, we've been doing a lot of reparations work, serving our seniors every Thursday, seniors who have lived in Santa Clara County for longer than 50 years. And as I grow older and would love to start a family in Santa Clara County, I just want my children to grow up where I know Santa Clara County is continuing to provide equity for all, but I really think it's time to allow the Black community to do reparations and research. We're not asking for no money, we're just asking to get a task force committee to continue to do research on what has happened and what could be better. As in the state that we live in now under the new administration, I think that for a Black community, we're really getting targeted. And for me, I'm scared for children living in Santa Clara County, going to school where their reading scores and math scores are getting lower and lower each year. So all I ask for reparations so we can continue to elevate the Black community and make our seniors proud. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Renita. I got like 3 or 4 issues about the community as Black folks, children's, seniors. It ain't right. I mean, we have worked hard. Now I can barely pay my bills. I'm on HISS now. Now I got to pay IRS money. It ain't right. I work hard, try to get another income. Then I look at the schools, I'm going down the streets, the community of the elementaries. The buildings is all run down. The materials that they need is not right. And then again, I look at the college people, children's college people, also, it just ain't right. I'm nervous here. I am a speaker, but it hurts so bad when the education is not right. The seniors foundation for us being provided is not right. It's not fair to us. What do? We fight, we argue, we put our trust in you guys, and we really don't get too much of a comeback. So can you please put more power to helping us for our foundation? Thank you.
And we'll move to our Zoom speakers. Our first speaker is Paul Soto. You will have 2 minutes to speak. Please go ahead.
Thank you for announcing the name that my mother gave me, Paul Soto. So I want to acknowledge that to the clerk. Secondly, I'd like to acknowledge the Senora, 89 years old. I'm sorry that I forgot your name, but today and any day that this is on the dais in a government meeting, it's Que Viva MLK, Que Viva Malcolm X, Que Viva Chairman Fred Hampton, Que Viva Toni Morrison, Que Viva James Baldwin, because all of them have been continuing. We are the next generation of the fight that they started. The fight that they started, we are the next generation that are gonna keep up that fight, and we're gonna keep on going. Okay, now, if you look up on Facebook, Paul Horseshoe Soto, that's a place where you can get a hold of me. I have every single one of the redlining documents that were signed in 1939 here in Santa Clara County. I don't know if you have them. I have every single one of them that were created in the city of San Jose, which is the largest city in the county of Santa Clara. So now Jamal, I know Jamal knows me. Now, get a hold of me, Paul Horseshoe Soto, and we can do this. We can push it to where we can challenge the county, either put up or shut up. That's how I want to do it. Because, like she said, she's 89 years old, and I would like it, myself, I would like it, if some of my elders had the pleasure of being seated at a table where that is acknowledged and the process is not politicized. We're tired of politicizing. Why don't you try to start being a human being, just a decent human being, and making sure that those who were deprived or those that have been treated with inequity receive the necessary equity that they naturally deserve. That's it. It's not a political issue. It's a humanitarian issue. It is a human rights issue. It is not a political issue. But you guys play around with it. And so what that tells me is that you are not equipped with what is necessary in order to move us forward. Like I said, get a hold of me, Jamal. Paul Horseshoe Soto on Facebook. Thank you.
Okay. Our next speaker is Jerabin Serafin. You'll have 2 minutes to speak. Please go ahead.
Hey, what's up? My name is Gervin, but you can just call me G for short. I appreciate you guys letting me share. So since this is a committee of different factors, I'll go ahead and break it down. So I'll go from the vantage point of children. I'm not exactly a child, but I'm 20 years old, still like to consider myself young. I think from my lens, a lot of students are still navigating college, especially our African-American students, without that generational wealth, stable housing, or even an adequate support system because of the policies, that intentionally exclude our families from economic and educational opportunity in what we call essentially probably the best county in the world. We still feel excluded. For families, reparative justice is about stability and dignity. And for a long time, especially when I volunteer at the AHCSA and also get the help that I need, it really breaks me down seeing the seniors, all the things that they had to go through. The same thing like Mr. Soto just represented and explained right now about redlining. Many African American seniors in this county, they've gone through the redlining, employment discrimination, exclusion from wealth building opportunities. And just like Jeremiah said, it may come to a point where people would love to be here, but how can you even grow a family here if you only have to face rising living costs and not be able to be at a vantage point where you feel like you can actually succeed in the city? And if anybody wants to look at it as well, because I consider myself not just a student who likes to talk about it, but be about it. U.S. Census data has said that between San Jose and Santa Clara, they've lost about 17.6% of its Black population from between 1990 and 2019, and it's only going lower. And this is one of the places that a lot of people consider changing their lives. So please take a look at that and continue to push that forward. And yeah, appreciate y'all.
That concludes public comment.
Thank you so much. I'm going to look to my co-chair for comments.
Thank you, Chair. I want to thank the Human Rights Commission and the Reparations Ad Hoc Committee for bringing forward this important conversation and request to the committee. Santa Clara County has a responsibility to confront harm that has been caused by government systems and policies, including impacts on African American residents here in San Jose and across our region. I support advancing this conversation because we cannot build equity without acknowledging history and addressing today's disparities. I look forward to continuing working with you so we can turn this commitment into meaningful outcomes. And with that, Chair, I make a motion to receive the report and forward the discussion to the full Board of Supervisors.
Wonderful. I'll second that. And I'll just really want to say thank you for all of the efforts that you've made to get you and get us here today. I know it's been a long road for many of you. And the harms that policymakers before us have really hurt the Black community in ways that we can't very much measure, because how do you measure discrimination, or how do you measure segregation? How do you measure a lesser education because of the color of your skin? And because of that, and for many more reasons that I understand as a brown woman myself, is that there needs to be reparations made for that community and for the policies that did a specific group harm. We've seen it done in other parts of the world where there is an apartheid in Africa, and we've seen how conversations need to be had. And I think that's the other piece that I feel like is missing. The reparations need to have this acknowledgement, an apology. I know there's a bill that is meant to apologize, but I think as a culture we need to have that sentiment, that acknowledgement of what was done in the past, and the sentiment of being to repent from that policy and understand where it has led us today. And today we are in a big hot mess. But as a policymaker, I'm happy to second that motion, also to affirm that the policies that come before us, we try very hard to undo what we've seen create harm for our communities in the past. And so you have our commitment, my commitment, to continue to do that as a policymaker. This is one of the reasons why I serve. And so I look forward to having this conversation at the board. And I just want to thank you, Jalinda, for your role as a commissioner, and also for your leadership. Obviously, you don't come by yourself. You have a family that is here with you that is also resonating this message and need for an acknowledgement to repair. So thank you so much for having that bravery and moving this item forward. So with that, I'm going to ask Camille to take a vote.
Vice Chairperson Young
Yes.
and Chairperson Arenas.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Wonderful. Yes, we will allow applause. Usually we don't, but this one I think it requires applause. Well, this is how we like to start off our agendas. We're going to move on to another, oh, and I'm so sorry. Happy birthday. What a gift today was. Okay, so moving on to item 5, receive the report from the Department of Family and Children's Services relating to the Child Welfare Corrective Action Plan and related reform efforts.
Good afternoon, Supervisor Arenas and Supervisor Young. Wendy Kinnear-Rausch, Director for Department of Family and Children's Services, and I'm happy to bring forward our January update on how we are doing in our corrective action plan and our pathway forward to ensure safety of children. And I'll fold in, since we didn't have a meeting in December, some of those December updates as well. Next slide. First, a profile on our snapshot of where we are in our 75 action items that we need to deliver. We are at 61% of those action items being signed off by the California Department of Social Services, which means they have approved it and moved on. We also have provided as an off agenda a midway executive summary that really gives the highlights and areas of concern we're still working on that I'll just point out. And I'll just highlight that we only have 2 items not yet started. Both of those are items that build out a review of policies that we are just now launching, so those are just in queue. Next slide. A couple high-level updates on where we are with big items moved in the last couple months. So we really spent, as far as policy, the last 2 months in November and December and into January in partnership with CDSS on our policy for new referrals on open cases or referrals. This is an existing policy, existing statute. We looked at redefining roles and responsibilities, and from how we take the calls at the hotline to investigating those new allegations of abuse, and really making sure that our policy clearly outlines those roles and responsibilities and how we handle those. I'm happy to report that policy has been published and we are rolling out training. Also want to highlight our efforts on safety plan compliance. Happy to report that this has now been moved over for CDSS to sign off. We had our 5th month in a row where we were at 95% or greater on our safety plan compliance. Really, this is about making sure we had safety plans logged into our mandated statewide system, had the necessary signatures, and then it was loaded up appropriately. What that means is CDSS will review that and be able to move that on, and it will become 62% in our areas of compliance. Next, moving on to just a highlight of our updates on board referrals. So I'm happy to report for our community social worker pilot, we have social workers at both of our school districts, Franklin McKinley and Gilroy Unified School District, a dedicated hotline where those school personnel can call in and reach staff both for a call and any resources. And initial feedback both from the social workers and school personnel has been positive. Things are going smooth on both sides. Next steps will be meeting and taking a look at measures that we will put into place to evaluate this pilot and to determine next steps. Community Roundtable, which also was a board referral. I'm happy to report that they've had 4 meetings to date, 3 hybrid and 1 in person. They will have their 5th meeting this month. We have our dedicated facilitator-led in place, so we will shift to that early next week. And then they are working on their recommendations and goals and development. So more to come on that probably in the next month. On our community forum, this is the quarterly community forum that DFCS hosts. We had our last one held on December 2nd with 152 participants from community there. We had youth and parent-led panels. We invited Father Greg Boyle and Homeboy Industries, reminding us all to see beyond behaviors and really see the person. It's a time for compassion and really level setting for the work that needs to happen in 2026, especially around our budget and sharing our resources. We then invited in both a youth panel and a parent panel who really reminded us how we need to partner with them, how we need to engage. Again, some real level setting going into 2026. Next slide. A reminder about our reporting of child abuse and neglect and the phone number 833-SCC-KIDS. Also a reminder that Department of Family and Children's Services offers our partners and training for schools, our mandated reporter training. So we'll take those phone calls and an opportunity to partner with community around that as well. And then finally, next slide, our continued call to action. We continue to partner with our CBO foster family agencies for caregivers in county. It is our goal to keep all children in county in their home schools. A special outreach to those in community who may be interested in learning more. We especially need caregivers for siblings, special needs, acute needs children. We are here to share more information with you and invite you to be part of that call to action. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for the presentation. I'm going to ask Camille for public comment.
We currently have 2 hands raised on Zoom.
Okay, we'll do 2 minutes.
2 minutes, okay. Our first speaker is Parent. Parent, we are unmuting you. You will have 2 minutes to speak. Please go ahead.
Yes, I've called the CANC hotline that was in the presentation. I've called it several times. I've given the reports of my children being molested, and nothing was done. Nothing. All I get from Wendy Kinnear-Rausch is that if I want to file a complaint, go ahead and file a complaint. I mean, that's it. That's the one line that she sent me. Nothing about my kids, and I'm worried about your kids, and let's get a screening, and let's do something to fix it. And that's just, it's unacceptable. Nothing has changed. All this corrective action plan presentation, it's just a farce. It's to gaslight the public. Nothing has changed. I mean, we just settled the case with Dr. Klein's victim, and I mean, the guy molested dozens of children, and he got foster children, and nobody cared to take his privileges away and his foster parent status away. You just kept letting children being molested by him, and the same thing is happening right now. And I think the only corrective action plan that would really fix the problem is if we removed Wendy Kinnear-Rausch and Daniel Little, who are responsible for 3 deaths in one year. We had Jordan Walker, we had Ellie Lorenzo, and we had baby Phoenix, all pass away because of their negligence. And now they're neglecting my kids, and now we're going to count on them to continue to continue being in charge of protecting children. I mean, that's just, it doesn't sound right to me. And please, if somebody here can help get my children a screening, I would greatly appreciate it. My name is Ben Z, and Supervisor Reyes has all my contact information. She'll give it to you. I'm sure she will. She'll be happy. She's a good person, and she'll do it. And please help me. Thank you so much for your time.
Our next speaker is Paul Soto. We are unmuting you. Please go ahead.
Thank you. I've been hearing the Senor Ben coming to these meetings for a long time. Ben, contact me. Go to Facebook, Paul Horseshoe Soto, and we'll just go to the press, bro. Me and you, because I got issues. There's been 2 more murders that are directly connected. Michael Macias and Jesse Sanchez, that are directly connected to this board right here. So contact me, bro. I think if you and I get together, and instead of us working individually, if we get together and we start pounding the door of the press, get Damian Trujillo, get Jessica Aguirre, and put them on the corner, put them in a corner, and like either you guys start reporting on what it is that's happening to our community, or get out of that news organization, because they don't belong there. So I'd like to join forces with you, Paul Horseshoe Soto, and let's do this. Let's bust this thing wide open. I would suggest that you go to Karen Dasa. Karen, Karen Dasa. Karen Dasa. She did an expose on the foster care program. She's an excellent investigative reporter. She works for Cal Matters now. So get a hold of me. Now to the topic of foster care is there has been a lot of exploitation there and a lot of corruption there to keep it quiet. And we as a citizenry really don't have to tolerate it. It isn't like the government working with community partners. The government is ours. It belongs to us, the citizens. It doesn't belong to you. You guys function like you're this independent entity that exists, and you're omniscient, you're omnipotent, you're all powerful, you're all knowing, and you are never, never wrong. And the only time you are wrong is when some sissified Harvard lawyer says that you guys are wrong. And we ain't, and not sissified Harvard lawyer, sissified Stanford law degree recipient, like James Williams. So I suggest you guys start getting on the ball. We're gonna go to the press.
That concludes public comment.
Thank you. All right, so before I go to my co-chair, I just want to say that this item is actually around a corrective action plan. That means that we are looking at our system and trying to correct it. Taking a look at the areas that we might be underperforming, definitely listening to the state and their analysis and their guidance. Do we have it? You know, we're in the road to progress, and that I'm very proud of. We have a lot to accomplish, but we have already accomplished quite a bit. And I think our children are going to be served in a manner that is more, that is at par with their dignity and well-being. And I'm really proud of the work that we've done so far. And so we will continue to do this work until we get it exactly how our community needs it to be. All right, so with that, I'll ask my co-chair for any questions and comments. Yeah, all right.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you, Wendy. To you and your team, I'm pleased to see the progression each time we meet. And fully appreciate that the holistic policy review necessitates a lot of time and resources. My question is that once it's fully updated, what will be the practice going forward to keep it current?
An excellent question. The nice thing is once we've gone through everything, we get a sort of fresh slate to not have to make any edits unless anything changes in statute or all county letters that come down. So we already have plans in place to keep those updated. Regularly, we give feedback back on draft ACLs coming in. So there's already a process in place to keep it updated, keep it up timely. And we will also be having a change this next year. We will switch from our statewide database, the Child Welfare Case Management, to CARES, and we're already well under our way to automatically make those shifts within policy. So we are thinking forward to keep that sustainable.
Oh, thank you for that update, Wendy. And switching gears a little bit, you know, on the feel-good side of things, the community social worker pilot launched by Chair Arenas and former Supervisor Cindy Chavez. I'm really happy to hear that's been well received. Is there any anecdotal information or feedback you could share with us about the program?
No specific details on things. There will actually be a work group this week where I will get some additional details on things. I will tell you, you'll be hearing later from the school community collaborative. And in that space with other schools, there was a lot of when will we get one too? So it'll be, we really need to set this up to what's working, what's not, and then is there any capacity to extend this further into other districts? So I'm excited to see what we're learning, making sure we're setting it up appropriately to have good lessons learned, and then we'll take a look at what comes next.
Really looking forward to hearing those updates and seeing how this program progresses. I have a feeling that's going to be continue to be well received. Well, with that, I make a motion to receive the report and turn back to the chair.
And I will second that. And then before we call the vote, I have some comments and questions. I'll start with where we just ended, which is the community social worker pilot. I'm also very happy that this is happening. We know that through the pandemic and through just a lot of trial and error and best practices, that offering services where our community is the most effective way to connect with them. Who would have thought, right? Sometimes we need to go back to basics, and so this is us going back to basics, and I'm really proud of the work that has led you to where we are right now, because I know that working with another system that is equally, maybe not as complex as our system, but equally has its own challenges and complexities, is difficult. And so thank you for maneuvering through that, and to the point where other schools are asking for our support. And I hope that we continue to serve in a way that makes sense to our community, especially in the areas that have the number of referrals that are coming in from South County and then from the east side of San Jose. And so, which it leads me to one of my questions, and that is, when this, oh gosh, somebody's going to help me out from my team, because I do want to acknowledge the social worker that created this, and she gave us a tour back in the day of the CAN Center. Maxine, yes, of course, Maxine. Oh, I love her. And these are the kinds of solutions that we're looking for, right? That come from the staff who are doing the work and who understand that they can fill and address some of the gaps. And so kudos to Maxine for bringing it forward and for always having that. She's so vibrant and proactive in what she does. If she sees something that's missing, like a binder that would give some of the workers protocols, she did that. And so our employees are stepping up to the challenge every day. We just don't see that, right? And we don't get to acknowledge each and every one of them. But I'm just extremely grateful for all the work that they're doing and the leadership that has led them to this point. So my question is, how do we gauge whether we're successful? I know other schools being envious of the support they're getting from the county, I think the direct connection of services, right, makes a lot of sense for schools to have. I really was hoping that schools continue to be the hubs that they were designated as when we all went through this pandemic and we needed to find a place. And many of them continue to step up this way, but because of cuts, we know that the wellness centers are going away. We know that some of their funding is going away. And so how do we know whether we are absorbing and not duplicating, or maybe supplanting would be the word, something that has a resource that has been taken from them for whatever reason, because of grants, what federal government, any one of those reasons, and the success of that person. Is it the number of referrals that are coming in? Is it the number of meetings that they're having with family members on site when there are referrals or cases of abuse? How do we gauge this? I know it's difficult to say, how do we gauge a relationship and the difference that a relationship makes in a community, but I think there's some metrics that I'd love to figure out, so that we know that we want to duplicate this and that we can take this and expand it.
Really appreciate the question, and I would say there's three things, and you highlighted a couple of them. One is the calls that are coming in, right? So taking a look at what that means when those calls coming in, and what that tells us. Are those calls that really are rising to the level of abuse, or was it a call that really was about resources and needing to know more about resources? Then the second thing really is about taking a look at relationship. So one of the things we heard loud and clear from school is about relationship and better understanding the systems. And I would lean into that, and we heard that a lot in the county schools collaborative meeting today, that we need to talk more about what resources we have, where are we duplicating, where do we have gaps, and take that into consideration, any next steps moving forward. And the third thing, which hasn't been talked about, is really that mandated reporter training. And if in that support around training, schools getting that training free from the county and really supporting them around that. So those have been the main things we've been talking about, but I think this really is an opportunity for us to lean in more, better understand our systems, and then take a look at what that means for some next steps forward.
Gotcha. So just to clarify, you're talking, the first bullet was to differentiate between the referrals and when it's just a resource and referral, a resource. Okay, got it. An actual child abuse report and a resource referral. I'm just going to clarify for my own sake. Okay. And then you'll begin to collect that information, or you've begun. Sarah has the answer.
I have an answer because I'm really excited about this. So we are doing a very small scope evaluation of this, and we have, it's going to focus on the areas that Wendy offered, and we have some of the SSA research team's time dedicated to this, where we'll be doing a pretty comprehensive review of how the school is experiencing the services, how the social workers are experiencing the services, so that we can come back with that. And I think it'll be a really nice model for other counties to take a look at too. So it's something I'm hoping we can kind of share out more broadly. So we'll do some sort of evaluation brief, and I think we can come back in late summer with that probably, because we'll be looking at the first year of the implementation. So I'm excited about that.
Wonderful. So it sounds like it'll be more qualitative, or
I think it'll be a mix, because we're also going to look at reports, the calls that come in from those two schools, right? So we'll have some quantitative data on the reporting. There's a designated line for those schools that are participating, so we'll be able to look at kind of change over time, because we have really good data on the number of reports, right, that come in by school sites. So we'll be able to look at some it'll be like a mixed methods, quantitative and qualitative.
okay. And then I don't want to dwell on this too much, but I do want us to continue to talk about this and align with less referrals does not mean more success, right? So that is not within the metrics that you're.
No, I think it'll be looking at how well we're addressing the referrals, both in terms of the child welfare connections, as well as with some of those additional service needs, and how well we're kind of leveraging the resources that are available on campus for students and families.
It would be really interesting to see if those families stayed with our services and the length of time that they stayed with our services, right? To see if that initial connection and relationship building made a huge difference. And I know that you've brought some of that data in before, but that data was based on a different kind of interaction, right? And I know that there's some differences between how folks interact. Anyways, I'd love to see what that ends up looking like, and I look forward to the end of this. Not the end of this. I mean, just to the evaluation. Whew. No, I'm not calling for the end of this. All right, so wonderful. Dan, did you want to say something?
No, I was just going to kind of reiterate 2 points that were made. One of them, I think the importance of being in the community, and I think to Sarah's point, this can be I think a remarkable model for this particular line of work with child welfare. I also think it's just for SSA wide. How can we get more integrated within the community and really measure the impact within that community? Mm-hmm. And then I think the other component is in the evaluation. I think we do want to build this out to make sure we're looking at not just numbers, but the actual experience. I think that's always been the challenge. Mm-hmm. And I think through this, it's going to give us a really good platform to be able to kind of test that out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw, and it has a lot to do with when there's a level of containment within the community, or maybe how you can embrace that community, right, and have the capacity to embrace that community. And I've seen it in Gilroy, how they really just collaborate, cooperate, coordinate with each other in a way that I don't think I've seen in other parts of our county, and I think it's something notable. And I don't know if it's the small town feel of Gilroy, or it's because people just established really good relationships over the years. I'm not going to say that in other areas they didn't do this. So it would just be really interesting to learn more about what makes those differences. And to your point, Dan, yes, thank you. I appreciate that. The last piece is, and just bringing it back to this point, is maybe what we could do is that roundtable advisory group has met a number of times, and they could also be part of giving us that feedback if those are folks who are part of those communities. And I'm guessing they're probably those stakeholders, one and the same, right? So it could be beneficial to hear from them. But it would also be beneficial for us to hear from them in terms of their testimonies. I know that you said you had Father Boyle come in, and you might have had other really in-depth discussions. It would be just great to see in the report their take on that. Or maybe I could visit and hear it myself, and I don't know if because of confidentiality or just respecting people's opinions at a meeting like this, you may not want to reflect it in a report. I just would love to hear what the roundtable is discussing. I know some of the stakeholders in the past have been a little quiet, but they've been combined with other stakeholders that tend to be very proactive. With their messaging, so I'd love to see what that looks like. Maybe just invite me next time, and then I'll just go, and you don't have to put it in the report. Unless my co-chair is interested in seeing that too. Okay. All right, so that is it for me on comments. Just thank you for making sure that this employee initiated what is seeming to be a really great practice is carrying on in the community, and that we're reaping from those that work already with the testimony of those other school administrators. So I'm going to look to Camille for a vote.
Okay. Vice Chairperson Young?
Yes.
And Chairperson Arenas?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to item 7. This is receive annual report from Probation Department relating to the fiscal year 2024-2025 Neighborhood Safety Services Unit. And I believe Myra and Eduardo are here to present. And if it's not, you can correct me.
Oh, I think we have item 5 for 06. Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Although I think there was some overlap with the cap.
Sorry, my page is stuck together and I skipped 2 items. So, it is the will of the chair to move to item 7. No, I just, my page is just stuck together. This is item 6. This is receiving the report from the Office of Children and Families Policy relating to a county school collaborative. And we heard about it just a little bit earlier. Please tell us more.
Good afternoon, Chair Arenas and Vice Chair Young. I'm Heidi Emberling, Director of the Office of Children and Families Policy, and I'm joined, who would you like to say hi?
Karina Alvarez, Senior Management Analyst.
We prepared a presentation which I can walk through, or we can answer any questions you might have.
If the presentation isn't long, I'm okay. Co-chair, you?
I would like a presentation.
Perfect.
Okay. So at the October 22nd, 2024 Board of Supervisors meeting, Supervisor Arenas requested an off-agenda report regarding a potential collaborative model that would connect systems to improve the health of children, youth, and young adults, especially those living in the highest need zip codes. The high-risk zip codes included a compilation of risk indicators on poverty, substance abuse, juvenile arrests, client mental health, teen parents, low birth weight, school dropout, and low academic test scores. So the work of the County Schools Collaborative will be guided by the recommendations of the Children and Youth System of Care Interagency Leadership Team and the groundbreaking work of the Latino Health Assessment as well. And in particular, We want to think about how we enhance county spaces and services to create those healing environments for the Latino community. The Office of Children and Families Policy is coordinating the county schools collaborative effort in partnership with the Santa Clara County Office of Education, the individual superintendents of key districts, and the county department leads. The goal of the collaborative is to develop action items that improve coordination and collaboration between county departments and school district personnel with that goal of strengthening services and supports of children, youth, and families. The primary criteria that will guide identification of the cross-county departmental staff to engage is oh, sorry. I think I already said that. There we go. Is to leverage the existing working partnerships with school districts and then engage all departments and divisions that serve priority student need areas. So in October, I started having initial meetings with departments, probation, behavioral health, social services, public health, housing. I also met with system partners at the school districts and community partners, including Parents Helping Parents, the South County Youth Task Force, the San Jose Youth Empowerment Alliance, just getting a sense of all of the partners that come together around county schools interactions. So things I learned after meeting with the probation department was that there are a lot of unique diversion programs available at the high schools and that they're utilized differently based on the youth needs at the individual sites. Also that partnerships that Ed Services in probation supports youth with a variety of different needs, including reintegration into schools and academic supports, IEP advocacy, youth empowerment efforts, connections to legal supports, et cetera. And that partnerships with probation officers are key points of connection for the schools. In the budget reduction environment in which we're facing right now due to HR 1, we're really looking at mandated and non-mandated programs. Of course, prevention services may be at risk as we look through these, and so we wanted to elevate that as we think through the partnership opportunities. Also, when I met with Behavioral Health Services Department, some of the things that I learned about the California Department of Healthcare Services introduced the multi-payer fee schedule. This is an ongoing sustainable funding source for high school wellness centers and other behavioral health services. And as the wellness center initial grants are coming to a close, we really want to make sure that the schools have access to alternative funding streams so that these very important services continue. The school district shared that the fee schedule is sometimes hard to navigate for them. There's an administrative burden that they're navigating. The reimbursement rates they're trying to understand them and how that works within their own budgets. And then behavioral health obviously is also the specialty mental health services provider to Medi-Cal and uninsured students, and those services can be offered at school, at home, or in the community. And then also, we do look at the California Healthy Kids Survey when thinking about the needs of students. So would be great to have more uptick on that survey. Right now, we have about 59% of the high schools that are participating. And then I met with the Social Services Department, with the Department of Children and Families, and in addition to the schooling services coordinators that are on sites, DFCS, as you just heard from Wendy, launched the new social worker pilot And one of the schools, Gilroy, is present at the collaborative, so we're going to hear how that is going. And that also DFCS offers this continuum of care services from prevention through intervention to system-involved youth, foster youth, and justice-involved youth, and that the services and supports are provided often in partnership with a network of community partners, family resource centers, and other community-based providers. It's not always clear to the school districts when they're working with a subcontractor, maybe which department they're from. So there's some clarity that needs to happen there. When talking to the school districts, we wanted to begin by engaging the school districts that are touched the most by county services. So put together some indicators. This was looking at the zip codes that I mentioned earlier, number of child welfare referrals, juvenile arrests and citations, all of the things that are listed here. And each school got a sort of student need code, and then based on those indicators, there were 5 school districts that really rose to the top. And so I reached out to each of the superintendents individually, and they're listed here. So Campbell Union High School District, Eastside, Gilroy, Morgan Hill, and San Jose Unified. And I had an introductory meeting with each superintendent to talk about their initial insights and feedback in partnering with county departments and how they look at better improving systems. And some things rose to the top, a need for consistency and coordination, as well as data sharing between schools and county departments, enhancement of a coordinated crisis response plan for those crisis moments, the need to address both gang activity and also re-entry from the juvenile justice system, really need to look at chronic absenteeism and the factors underneath that, which the school district superintendents talked about: substance abuse, housing insecurity, gang activity. Some of them said even more than the presence of ICE in the community. Chronic absenteeism may have these underlying issues going on in the families that really need to be looked at and addressed. And then the school district superintendents also reminded me that each school district has a unique context with varied and changing needs. So after the initial outreach to the county departments and the priority school district superintendents, we set up a time to come together, which happened this morning, where we wanted to identify what are the priorities that we would address in this county schools collaborative space. So I can talk more about that because that hadn't happened when we completed this deck, since it just happened this morning. And so that's the formal completion of the slide deck, and then we can speak more on any questions that you might have.
Wonderful. Thank you for the presentation. I'm going to look to Camille for public comment.
We currently have 2 requests on Zoom.
We'll do 2 minutes.
2 minutes, okay. So we'll go ahead and call our speakers. Our first speaker is Paul Soto. You will have 2 minutes to speak. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Paul Soto from the Horseshoe. I'm not sure if this is a report that was commissioned by you, Supervisor Arenas, a while back when I had asked that the assessment to those 6 schools is shut down on the east side. I'm not sure if this is a byproduct of that report or if that report still has yet to be produced. I'm not sure that. I would like an answer on that, however. I'm requesting that from you. Secondly, I don't like the way that you are reporting on this, and here's why. All you got to do is get the redlining map and put it on there as a template. You see, a lot of these symptoms, and these are symptomatic, They have nothing to do with the families. They have everything to do with these kids being raised in segregated areas. Let's start getting used to using the word segregated. Okay, not red line, segregated. Okay, all of these issues that you address crime, kids with crime. You're constantly talking about kids crime, kids crime, kids crime. No, the crime that was committed was by this county itself because it ratified those segregation policies that were produced out of the redlining that occurred in this city and county. I'm talking about the city of San Jose. Now, either you stop doing that or get out of that position. Get out of that position because we don't need you anymore. We don't need you. I speak for at least 100,000 to 200,000 people that are alive right now and that are still living in this county. The rest of them had to bail and get out of here. Why? Because their survival depended on it. Why? Because they have been raising children in segregated areas that lasted from 1939 till today. When are you people gonna get it through your head that we as a public do not have to continue to tolerate this kind of abuse by our government? We do, as the Declaration of Independence states, have the right to abolish this government.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Parent. Parent, you will have 2 minutes. Please go ahead.
Yes, I do think that it's important. Thank you so much for the presentation. I think it's important that the county does collaborate with the schools. And if I could give you an example that was not put in this presentation, that when you don't address child abuse, right? And like in my case, that when it's not addressed, what's happening now is that a predator is volunteering at several schools in Cupertino and San Jose. And what the county is doing is you're exposing the children of our county to these predators, not just in the schools, but in our entire community. But particularly, we need to know that our children are being safe at our schools. And it's just a complete shame what Daniel Little and Wendy Kinnear Roush are doing. We need to include it in our policies that we're going to make sure our schools are safe, and that when you hear a parent say that there's a predator out there and volunteering at schools, that you do it for my kids, first of all, and then secondary, the byproduct is you're protecting our community. And the second thing I'd like to say is, do you guys know Paul Soto's email address? I don't know if you guys know that or not. And thank you so much for your time.
That concludes public comment.
Okie dokie. I don't see a light. Yep. Yes? Okay. Go right ahead, Co-Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Heidi, and to you and your team for this work. I think you're at 4 months in now, right? Did I get that right? 4 months?
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. You certainly have hit the ground running, and I'm really encouraged to hear about the new developments that are coming out of this really important work. I also want to take this opportunity to thank my colleague, Chair Arenas and Supervisor Ellenberg, for pushing on this initiative. Looking at the report, I see that 7 out of the 9 San Jose high schools identified as priorities are in my district. So while I know we have various connections to schools like the social worker pilot, schooling services, housing supports, and so forth, we have long needed a more formalized communication pathway with our school districts. So I know that the meeting just happened this morning. There's still processing, reflection, continued collaboration required, but if there's anything that you could share with us from the highlights of the first convening this morning, I'd love to hear it.
Sure. First of all, the school superintendents requested that it be a working meeting as much as possible. So we set them up in table groups and asked just 2 sort of guiding questions. What is working well in the county school partnerships and what needs more focused attention? There were quite a few things that they talked about that are working well. The School Link Services coordinators do a wonderful job at being liaisons between the schools and the county services. And I think it was brought up several times that it would be great for the schooling services coordinators to also meet and elevate these things and to possibly join this meeting as well. The superintendents and the county department heads, we talked about keeping this first meeting as more of a planning space so we could think about what priorities we want to be identifying and working on together. So it stayed at a higher level in terms of coordination and data sharing and communication, as you mentioned, very much that came up. But I was very heartened by the amount of things that they brought up in terms of what we're building on. There are things that are working well. And I think remembering that these are times in a student's life that are very difficult. They're being impacted by a county system in some way or another, and there's a lot of coordination that needs to happen based on the particular situation that comes up. So I think making sure that we're identifying structures that exist both on the school site and in the county that either system can tap into, I think that is one of the things that emerged as maybe a priority area that we need to look at. How do we make sure, because there is turnover at the county and at the school sites, how do we make sure there are structures in place that can be tapped into by future people coming into this work? So those were some of the things that were brought up.
Thank you, Heidi. I look forward to further continuation of this conversation, and as you're able to bring back the notes from these convenings, it sounds like the highlights that you've shared with us today really point to systemic issues that we're going to have a lot of work, and I also expect a lot of joy to be able to dive into and work with. So happy 4-month anniversary. Thank you for your work. I look forward to more updates and continuing this conversation. Thank you, Chair. Oh, and with that, I'll make a motion to receive the report.
And I'll second that. Okay, so I'm going to ask some questions. And that is, and I know that you started off with, I think, a very soft question for the administrators that attended today. And I think it's grounded in creating trust and relationship with us, and I think that's wonderful. I think I would like to see, so that we can understand as well what is happening in their schools, what is that number of students that are moving from high school into continuation schools. I know that school suspensions were part of some of the metrics or some of the data that you were looking for. I forget where I saw that. So expulsions and suspensions, but it didn't include in the list the children that they're transitioning from and what grade that they're actually transitioning from. They're getting moved to continuation school, and the reason why they're moving to continuation school. I think that would help us understand whether those kids are so far behind because of the pandemic, chronic absenteeism, whatever other reasons that they have, maybe medical necessity, that they can't possibly catch up, or there isn't the type of tutoring that is needed in order for them to actually get back into the swing of things and continue to step into regular high school. So I'd love to figure that piece out. I saw the priority schools that you have, and this is how you, tell me once again, how did you come up with the student need score?
So this was a report that was brought to the board actually before I got here, but it was utilizing the data from the indicators that were on the slide here, a score was generated based on that need. So I would be happy to get all of the background data that was collected during that time and share it with your office so that you have all the background information. And maybe Sarah wants to add anything.
Yeah, Supervisor, I can elaborate on that. So the student need score is based on a number of different kind of indicators around outcomes, ranging from academic outcomes to involvement in child welfare and in probation and what, and I think possibly maybe there's like a socioeconomic indicator in there as well. So it's a pretty detailed spreadsheet, and we'd be happy to share that. And we actually have it. We partnered with behavioral health on collecting that because they look at it quite carefully when they were working on the wellness center grant program. So we have a really detailed spreadsheet that has it for every single school, and went through a pretty comprehensive review to identify which schools to prioritize, looking at like the more of the high school level. But we can send you the full document for your reference if that's helpful.
Thank you so much. I know that there's an abbreviated description of the student need in the graph, but anyways, I think part of the indicators should also show the transition to community schools. That's where I saw all of the indicators. I was trying to figure out where did I see this list that I can't find, and it was on the graph that you have that shows the priority high schools. Once again, I'm disappointed, but I'm not surprised that Gilroy is at the top of that. And I guess one of the things to connect two conversations from the previous item, maybe what we figure out if we are fruitful in having a model that supports our families within their community that makes a difference is if our kids continue to attend school, if they continue to, if their chronic absenteeism gets reduced, right? Whatever that behavior or indicator somehow is managed or reduced for that child. But let me take a step back. This was actually, I requested this because of the Latino health assessment, so I want to make sure that we don't lose the focus for Latinos, because that is, I'm been very open. I know that you will not open with our administrators this way, but this is an attempt to interrupt that school to prison pipeline by connecting the resources that we have in our safety net system with the school systems, because typically we just don't interact unless it's the schooling services, and that's thanks to former Supervisor Dave Cortese that helped establish that. But it's very minimal, right, in terms of what we offer on site at the campus, and I think that we could do a lot more. And I thinking back to the model, the pilot model, because there's such great success so far. That I sometimes I think we tend to step away from high schools because we just don't get involved in the same way that we do at junior high or in elementary, and that is true also for parents, right? We don't volunteer in the classrooms. Well, God forbid that I volunteer in a classroom, show up, and my kid sees me, because that would be the end of his life at high school, normal high school, right? So we don't volunteer in the same way, right? And so our role as parents really change, and that also contributes to the kind of resources that are available for the schools. And I don't know, I'm not saying this is quantifiable, but it contributes, right? When the environment is very limited and lacks resources, especially in the areas that scored 9s on the graph. Those are all areas that are, the health indicators are many, and the student need is vast. want to thank you for the information. This is really important. Thank you for getting this started. I am also very impressed with 4 months under your belt and getting yourself going. I know that Sarah was leading this and ensuring that it didn't skip a beat. And so I want to thank you both for moving this forward. I find that this is at the crux of and hopefully part of the answer to some of the issues that we have seen with Latinos and the dropout rates and the lack of graduation and reading score levels and math score levels, because that's ultimately what I want to improve is one is achievement for those students, and two, to reduce and deviate them from the other systems that we have, one of which is probation, which is what we're going to talk about next, right? Sorry, but yeah, we don't want them there, right? So we want to prevent them from coming into our systems. So thank you so much for the information. Thank you for getting us going with the County Schools Collaborative. And I think for me, I think those are the questions that I had. I look forward to just participating and being part of the conversations and understanding what our schools continually need as their needs continually change. And if there's anybody else that I can think of that should be part of this conversation, I'll let you know, but I think you've done a really great job.
Thank you.
All righty. Okay, so that is it for this item, and I'll ask Camille to take roll call, please.
Vice Chairperson Young?
Yes.
And Chairperson Arenas?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. All right. Now we are going to be moving to item 7, which is receive annual report from the Probation Department relating to the fiscal year 2024-2025 Neighborhood Safety Services Unit. Welcome. I tried to trick you earlier. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Supervisor. This is the Probation Department's annual Neighborhood Safety and Services Unit for FY25. At the request of this committee, we came back a little earlier than normal, so we reported out on 23-24 in May, and so you're seeing us just a little over 6 months later for the 24-25. One of the things that we tried to do with this annual report was really connect our activities of the NSU staff, the providers, and the schools that are funded by NSU and probation with the outcomes that we're hoping to achieve. So with that, I will turn it over to Myra Mejia, who is our program manager for NSU, and to Eduardo Aceves, who is our associate research and evaluation specialist with the Research and Development Unit in probation.
This is only my second time. Please bear with me. Greetings, everyone. My name is Mara Mejia with the Probation Department Neighborhood Safety Services Unit. I'd also like to introduce some of our NSU staff. If you can please stand. We have Susana Hernandez, our community outreach specialist that focuses in our East San Jose community. And also Miranda Lopez, our community outreach specialist for our East Gilroy community. And our management analyst, Roger Gutierrez. Thank you, and I'm going to pass it over to my colleague, Eduardo.
Hi, everyone. My name is Eduardo Aceves. Thank you, Mariel, for introducing us. I'm just trying to make sure that you guys can see my slides. There we go. Let me get this out of the way. Okay. How's that?
Great. I'm elated to be here today to present to you our NSU annual report for the fiscal year FY25, which encompasses July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2025. This is our overview and some updates we are going to go over in terms of our East San Jose and East Gilroy communities that we support. We seem to be having technical difficulties, so please bear with us. Just revisiting some of the NSU components and key strategies, the mission, vision, impact, and investment areas, which include school climate, leadership development, community resources, and systems partnership with some of the key activities. For our East San Jose communities, zip code 95122, we've had 7 community-wide events. Typically, we have over 200 plus residents that attend those events. 3,589 families served through food distribution efforts, and 2,037 duplicated individuals served through community action projects, events, which excludes the food distribution numbers. 603 unduplicated students engaged in extracurricular and after-school programs, and 95 unduplicated residents engaged in leadership, economic development courses. These include SE Heals, Sunday Friends, and Valley Palms Unidos. 328 duplicated individuals that are attending parent pride meetings and neighborhood association meetings. For our East Gilroy community, 95020, we've had over 18 large events, 6 which are community-wide events, which we have over 200 participants and community residents attend. The rest are cafecitos that are hosted in community on a monthly basis. 4,920 families have been served through food distribution efforts. 1,006 unduplicated students engaged in extracurricular and after-school programs. And 88 unduplicated residents engaged in leadership and economic development classes as well from Sunday Friends and SE Heals and the South County Youth Task Force. I do like to highlight that out of those community-wide events, the 18 events, the 6 include our partnership with City of Gilroy and the South County Youth Task Force. We also had 537 duplicated individuals attending Parent Pride and Neighborhood Association meetings. These are just some of the photographs of the highlights of some of the programs and events in each respective community. As you can see from the top left, we have Valley Palms Fall Festival. We have the Sparks Youth event that we support youth out of the multidisciplinary meetings that we have before and after, sometimes in the South County Youth Task Force meetings. And we then take some of those youth and support them through pro-social programming. And Valley Palms soccer clinics, a lot of our community is super excited about these activities because, as you know, the soccer field was new a few years back, and we wanted to make sure that we make great use of that space for our youth in the community. Bottom left, you have San Isidro Park Center pro-social activities. Many of our activities in both communities, as you can see, are multi-generational approaches. And then we have Sunday Friends Foundation Mercado, which is where residents get to showcase their businesses and engage with residents of what is their business and how to become a legitimate business. We also have Alexander Station backpack distribution on the right bottom. Which is in partnership with City of Gilroy, South County Youth Task Force, and New Hope for Youth. Typically happens usually at the beginning of, or right before the school year starts. Now, we also collect community safety service in each respective community. These surveys enables us as an NSU team and with the support of research and development team to get feedback directly from the community that we serve. And this feedback includes how they feel in terms of community safety, well-being, social cohesion, right, being together in community, collective efficacy, the school environment, and gun safety. This informs what the community needs, and therefore it informs the programming that we focus on in the upcoming year. We collected 728 surveys from July to October 2025. This is an effort with our partners. All our partners collect surveys from the participants that are in the programs, and also we collect these at major events such as National Night Out, the holiday events, and so on. 237 of these surveys were collected from East San Jose residents. Of those, 154 were collected from San Jose youth, and 245 were collected from the East Gilroy residents, and 92 of those were East Gilroy youth. I'd like to highlight just some open responses from youth from East San Jose. And open responses is when youth take the time to write what is it specifically that they are seeking in terms of programming. And as you can see, a lot of it is around sports, soccer, biking, basketball, arts and crafts, music, karaoke, more community events, right? Because we want to be together in community. And access to soccer equipment, I was surprised to see pickleball, but that's fun and trending right now, which is great. And also paint nights, which we will have a mural reveal February 14th, and we will be talking about art activities that we're gonna be providing to the community as well. Open responses from the East Gilroy youth, again, right, more sports, options to be at the park and have engaging activities there. Art, clubs, a common theme across both is also like a youth space, right? A more designated youth space where they can convene. And so you also see things like more gatherings, more community events, after-school programming, a safe space, and Gilroy Gardens, because it's fun. I'll hand it over to Eduardo.
Thank you, Mayra. Okay, so here we'll be looking at the community safety survey that we've collected since NSU began serving these communities in 2016. So as you can see, NSU collects a lot of feedback from the community and does an excellent job at implementing the needs and wants of the community members. Okay. So these next few slides are going to focus on some of the items that we take from the NSU scorecard. So the NSU scorecard is a tool that was developed in partnership with Venture Leadership with the purpose of identifying and tracking metrics and outcomes related to what the efforts that NSU is providing to these communities. So one of these efforts that we began tracking is number of vehicle and pedestrian incidents to improve walkability in these communities. So in 2019, Valley Palms community and NSU celebrated the installation of a crosswalk as a response to community concerns of safety as parents walk their kids to school. And as we can see in the chart, since 2019, the average number of vehicle pedestrian incidents has decreased. And this past fiscal year, there was only 7 vehicle pedestrian incidents in this community. So this is another item. This one we're focusing on East San Jose's chronic absenteeism for the schools that are served by NSU, which are Catherine, Smith, and Leyva. So here we're looking at a reduction in chronic absenteeism, and this data comes from the California Department of School dashboard portals that are publicly available. So the chronic absenteeism rate began to increase in fiscal year 22 and peaked in fiscal year 23 in these schools to 27%. And to address this, NSU began working with schools to implement attendance campaigns and attendance workshops. And this past fiscal year, the chronic absenteeism rate dropped down to 21%, which is closer to the statewide rate of 19%. So this metric here is again for East San Jose, and we're measuring the number of referrals that are coming out of this community. So here we're looking for a reduction in the number of juvenile referrals to probation, and this data comes from the probation department itself through our annual reports. the numbers coming from this region has decreased almost by half since NSU began providing services in the community. And in 2024, there was only 104 juvenile referrals. So here we're looking at an area of inquiry. And for us, an area of inquiry is something that the NSU team has identified and is trying to look into how they can improve these metrics. So this metric here is a number of students who are proficient in English language arts and math in the schools that NSU serves, which is Catherine Smith and Leyva. So here we want to see an increase in ELA scores. And this data is coming from the California Assessment of Student Performance and Progress. So this past school year, there was a 3% increase in ELA scores and a 1% increase in math scores. But they're still, they were still below state averages, 17% below in ELA and 10% below in math. Here these scorecard metrics will focus on East Gilroy. And here we took a look at the metric of self-efficacy. And this indicator was selected from the Community Safety Survey. And it's a question that asks, if I work with other community members, my neighborhood will be a safer place to live. In this past survey, 96% of the respondents agreed with this statement. 96% of the respondents feel that they have an input in the safety of their community. Here we're focusing on the number of referrals for Gilroy, is 95020 area. So the number of referrals coming in from this region has also decreased by almost half. And in 2024, there was 127 referrals coming out of this region. Again, we're taking a look at chronic absenteeism for the schools that NSU participates in, and this was Elliott Elementary School and Glenview Elementary School. So the chronic absenteeism rate peaked in fiscal year 22 for these two schools, and it reached 46% chronic absenteeism rate. So again, NSU was partnering with the schools and the principals to implement attendance campaigns. And this past fiscal year, the chronic absenteeism rate dropped to 24%. Again, here's an area of inquiry for East Gilroy's two schools. And here we're looking for, again, an increase in ELA and math proficiency. So here, ELA and math proficiency began increasing from fiscal year 17 through 19, but then dropped significantly in fiscal year 22. Only 22% of the students were proficient in ELA, and 19% were proficient in math this past school year. And yeah, that's our presentation.
Great, thank you. Can you hear me? Okay, great. Also, part of this report included a very robust report that you have with you, and so I did want to share a quick summary of what is included in the report. You have all our program partners in each of the communities, and also some of the personal statements and highlights of program impact in each of those respective programs and partners. Collectively, the outcomes of the NSU annual report demonstrate that NSU's place-based strategy is effectively advancing upstream violence prevention by addressing the root conditions that give rise to harm before it occurs. Rather than relying on enforcement or crisis response alone, NSU investments strengthen protective factors, multi-generational family connection, youth engagement, social cohesion, economic stability, and trust between residents and systems. Improvements in school attendance, increased perception of safety, and tangible environmental changes such as improved walkability reflect the cumulative impact of sustained resident-centered prevention by building leadership capacity, expanding access to pro-social opportunities, and aligning schools, community-based organizations, and public systems around shared goals. NSU is creating the conditions for long-term community safety. This is long-term work. These results affirm that upstream community-driven prevention is not only effective, but essential to reducing violence, advancing equity, and improving life outcomes across generations. NSU's upstream public health-driven approach demonstrates that early coordinated investment in youth, adults, and families and community capacity improve safety and generate long-term public return on investment while maintaining accountability through shared performance metrics that we collect and cross-system collaboration. NSU's impact is driven by a coordinated network of community-based organizations, school districts, and public agencies, and resident leaders who work together to address violence at its roots. These partners serve as trusted messengers and service providers, delivering culturally responsive, trauma-informed, and resident-informed interventions that strengthen protective factors across life course. Through this partnership model, NSU ensures that prevention is not episodic, but embedded in the neighborhoods where youth, adults, and families live, learn, and gather. School district partnerships with Evergreen School District, Eastside Union High School District, and Gilroy Unified School District have been central to improving school climate, attendance, and student engagement. By aligning after-school enrichment, leadership development, substance use prevention, and PBIS-aligned programming, NSU partners support students most vulnerable to disengagement and justice system contact. Success stories from students re-engaging in school through sports, arts, and mentorship to youth developing coping skills and future orientation illustrate how upstream interventions reduce behavioral risk while promoting academic and social emotional growth. Community-based partners such as Catholic Charities of Santa Clara County, we have some of them here with us today, Pacific Clinics and New Hope for Youth, First Five, Sunday Friends Foundation, Bay Area Women's Sports Initiative, Valley Health Foundation, and resident-led groups such as Valley Palms and East San Jose and SC Hills and East Gilroy translate prevention into tangible and protective experiences. Their work ranges from case management, family resource centers, and mental health supports to leadership development, economic mobility, gun safety education, and pro-social youth, adult, and multi-generational programming in both communities. These efforts build both individual self-efficacy and collective efficacy. These are key predictors to reduce violence and improve neighborhood safety. Resident success stories further demonstrate within the report the depth of this impact. Youth who once felt disconnected report increased confidence, emotional regulation, and a sense of belonging after participating in leadership groups, sports-based programs, and restorative activities. Parents and caregivers describe strengthened communication with their children, increased access to resources, and a growing willingness to take on leadership roles within their community. Residents who once received services are now organizing events, volunteering at events, facilitating workshops, and leading community-wide call to action efforts, evidence of sustainable and community-led prevention. Environmental and systems level outcomes reinforce these individual narratives. Improvements in walkability and use of public spaces, increased trust and collaboration with law enforcement specifically, and visible transformation of community hubs such as San Isidro Park and the center reflect the cumulative impact of aligned investments. These changes reduce exposure to risk, increase informal social control, and normalize pro-social behavior, which are core drivers to upstream violence prevention efforts. Together, NSU partners demonstrate that violence prevention is most effective when it is in collaborative, place-based, and resident-centered. By leveraging the strengths of community organizations and public systems, NSU produces measurable outcomes, compelling stories, and long-term public value. This model shows that sustained investment in partnerships does not then prevent harm. It builds safer, healthier, and more resilient communities across generations. NSU's work affirms that sustained, partner-driven prevention is not only effective, it is essential to advancing long-term community safety, equity, and intergenerational well-being. I ask you to reference the success stories and personal statements included in this report. The partner success stories show how upstream community-driven prevention rooted in schools, families, and resident leadership reduces risk, leadership safety, and delivers lasting public value. Violence prevention is inherently long-term work. Unlike enforcement or crisis response, prevention focuses on changing underlying conditions such as family stability, youth engagement, and community cohesion that take time to develop and sustain. While our early indicators show progress, the full impact of these investments accrues over years to consistent and coordinated commitment. Upstream violence prevention requires sustained investment as its impact is cumulative and realized over time through strengthened protective factors and reduced reliance on downstream systems. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. It was very thorough. And you're right, you have a lot of, quite a bit of content in your report, so thank you so much for that. Before we begin the discussion, I'm going to ask Camille for any public comment.
So I currently have 5 requests here in the room and 2 hands raised on Zoom. Oh, I'll just give it a minute as there are a few more.
No problem.
Okay. It's currently holding at 4 hands raised on Zoom for a total of 9 total.
I think that still puts us at 2, right?
2 minutes?
Yeah, so we'll get 2 minutes and hear from our public.
Okay. So I'll go ahead and call the names. Please line up in the center. Monica Bravo, Rita Ramirez, Tulo Tovalana, Maria Garcia, and Sammy Oliver.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak today about the NSU program and its profound impact on the community. NSU takes a public health approach that goes beyond simply providing services. It builds community cohesion in our highest need neighborhoods. Through biweekly workshops, young people gather to develop critical life skills, such as problem solving, effective communication, and healthy decision making. They explore topics like healthy relationships, substance use awareness, academic success, responsibility, and respect. Let me share what this really means. One of our youth participants said it best. I want to participate again this year because I have enjoyed learning new things I didn't really know much about before. I had so much fun. It made me build better relationships with the people there. I felt supported by the adults, and I feel like it made me a better person. That's the heart of this program. We're not just teaching concepts. We're transforming lives and strengthening families. We've increased parent involvement through regular meetings where families learn how to reinforce these lessons at home. Valley Palms truly is a community, and these programs help youth and their families maintain those bonds and continue building a close-knit neighborhood. This isn't just about individual growth. It's about creating a web of support where young people feel valued, families feel connected, and an entire community becomes stronger together. The impact of this work ripples outward. Healthier youth become engaged citizens, stronger families create safer neighborhoods, and connected communities thrive. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rita Ramirez with Catholic Charities, and I will be reading some letters written by our youth who were not able to be here and who are currently in the program at Valley Palms. But before I start, I would like to highlight that I've had the privilege to experience such a strong community, and I truly believe that NSU has been part of that drive, part of everything that's been happening. And I hope that with this we can move forward and we can also bring this to other underserved communities, because Valley Palms is not the only community that needs help. But now I'm going to start with the letters. To start off, I like the program because they educate young teenagers and children on topics like drugs and gangs to prevent the youth from taking the wrong turn in their life. I also enjoy our leaders who are very patient with us and always supportive when we need help and make sure to include everyone. Here's another one. What I like about the program is that I love what they teach us and the activities they make us do. This is my first year and it's going good, and I will continue on coming to this program. And another one, something that I learned in this group is about drugs and why they're bad for us. I also learned about Alzheimer's and what we can do about it. I like this program because I learned about what's good for us and what's bad for us and what we could do to help ourselves. And this last one. This is my second time at this program, and I like it because of the lessons they tell us. I like the activities that they make us do. It is very fun, and I hope to come next time. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Luluto Fabaha from Catholic Charities. I'm also going to be reading some of the letters. So one of them wrote, I learned a lot in the program, such as to take care of my body and mind and how to take care of others as well. I see myself as privileged because I get to learn life lessons. Anyone who would have taken my spot would have been considered lucky. Another one, this program has helped me learn a lot of things that I will need now or in the future. For example, I learned about how to save people from an overdose, and I think that every staff is super nice. Another thing I learned was the different types of bullying and what I can do to help. Just to reiterate what my colleagues have said, I think it's been a really great privilege to be part of something that allows me to be part of something bigger than myself. Everyone here is community, right? That's the whole point of this program, is community building, and I'm really grateful to be part of that. The youth here have shown me what it means to give back in other ways outside of our traditional sense, and it's really been a blessing to work with different colleagues who also feel the same way. The parents are also just as enthusiastic about the work that everyone here is doing, and so I urge you to think about all of the lives that have been touched and will be continued to touched through this. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sammy, and I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator for Bay Area Women's Sports Initiative, otherwise known as BOSSI. On behalf of BOSSI, I want to sincerely thank NSU for their continued support. Because of this partnership, we are able to provide programming in 3 different elementary schools and 1 middle school in Eastside San Jose. To help illustrate the impact of this work, I'd like to share a brief quote from Dr. Sandra Sarmiento, principal of Hubbard Media Arts Elementary. When our girls gather for BOSSI, they are not divided by their prior schools. They are united by shared goals, shared joy, and shared strength. When girls play, they learn how to navigate challenges and believe in themselves. BOSSI gives girls the chance to grow stronger, healthier, and more confident, creating a foundation for success in school and beyond. Thank you again to NSU for making this possible and for your commitment to the young people and families in our community. Thank you.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es María García y yo soy mamá de 2 niños que están en el programa y me duele que quieran quitar el programa, que quieran quitar los apoyos, porque yo veo a mis hijos muy entusiasmados. Ellos están con una ilusión de que aprenden mucho. Y no nomás los niños, también nosotras como mamás hemos aprendido, como por ejemplo yo no sabía mandar correos electrónicos y gracias a Mayra que nos ha ayudado en que nos dio el apoyo para que aprendiéramos y nos dieron la facilidad de las computadoras. Entonces yo les pido, ¿verdad?, que nos apoyen, que nos dejen con eso, ¿verdad?, que los niños aprenden mucho. Por ejemplo, les dan el programa de alcoholismo, de las drogas. Es algo muy importante para los niños. Que aprendan, ustedes saben que como papás a veces no nos hacen caso. Al contrario, cuando uno les dice, les da los consejos, ellos hacen lo contrario de lo que uno les dice y en los programas ellos aprenden muchísimo. De veras, muchísimas gracias y que tengan bonita tarde.
May I translate for her? Is that an option?
Sure, Camilla, is the translation not
It's not available.
triggered?
Mhm.
Okay, yes, if you
I
could,
can
that would be
briefly just
wonderful.
kind of, I didn't capture everything, but I'll do my best. She is a mother of 2 children, and the NSU program, she fears the loss of it, I think, because of the, the budget issues that we're having in the county, and there's a fear in the community to lose funding for these programs. And I believe that's why there's some emotion behind her comment. Her children are very excited and look forward to NSU programming in the community. And she also feels like her and other adult residents feel supported with additional programming for them as well. And these programs are important because, as parents, we can tell our children, what not to do and how to do it, but they don't listen to parents. They listen to peers and folks in the programs that they're participating in. And she believes that this is a vital program that we're providing in the community to make sure that, the children and youth continue to be engaged and the adults as well. So she would dislike to see this go away. We haven't said that, of course. It's just something that I think the community does fear that these programs will go away, and just wanted to highlight that.
Thank you. And we'll move to our speakers online. Our first speaker online is Paul Soto. Paul, you'll have 2 minutes. Please go ahead. Okay, Paul, you are unmuted. Okay, we'll go ahead and get back to you. Our next
Okay,
speaker,
well-
my apologies, you can go ahead.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you. Paul Soto from the Horseshoe. Señora, gracias para tus palabras del Madres del Barrio. Tus palabras del government, necesitamos escuche tu palabra, señora. So gracias. Secondly, to Ben, I hope you're listening. P as in Paul, A as in Anthony, 1968 at gmail.com, all lowercase.
Okay, Mr. Soto, this is not an exchange
I
system.
can do what I just did.
Okay.
And I'm sticking to the topic. Just
Okay,
first things
let's,
first. Let me finish.
please, that would be great.
Okay,
Thank you.
Now to the topic. I would like you to, I don't appreciate being interrupted. I know how to conduct myself at these meetings, unlike yourselves. So what I'd like to do is draw attention to the film, The Kids We Lost. Now, I watched this film when City Council Member Raul Perales was still in office. And it is an excellent, you don't have to go through all of this government crap, because that's all it is. It's just a bunch of statistics, and they don't mean anything to them because they don't know how to read them. And not only that, your statistics are incomplete because you haven't done a thorough study using euthenics, EUTHENICS, euthenics. And what euthenics is governmental control over spaces. And what it does is it gives you a very clear, and it's scientific, so you can measure it and you can duplicate it over time. And so what it does is it tells you very clearly on how government control over land and spaces necessarily includes and creates certain communities, while at the very same time wiping out communities. There's a word for that, and it's called genocide. And the genocidal practices of this county is consistent with that are included in the 1947 Geneva Accords.
Okay. Our next speaker is Desiree. Desiree, you'll have 2 minutes. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to present. My name is Desiree Granados. I am a promotora with SC Hills and is also a member under the South County Youth Task Force. I'm speaking today not only as a community worker, but as a mother raising 2 boys here in Gilroy. This is personal to me. This is about safety, it's about dignity, and the future of our children. First, I want to sincerely thank you for your continued support through the NSU. We don't take that lightly. We work closely with the City of Gilroy and the public health to make sure every dollar is stretched as far as possible. Through NSU and local partnerships, we've made real measurable impacts, especially in and around San Isidro Park. Violence has been reduced and the perception of violence has shifted because you invested in our community. So for that, we thank you. But today I'm here with both gratitude and urgency. I want to bring attention to Las Animas Park. It's located in one of the most densely populated areas of Gilroy, surrounded by multifamily housing and families who depend on that space for safety and recreation. While San Isidro Park has highly rightfully received focus, Las Animas has been left behind. It's in the same 95020 area code in Gilroy, yet it faces serious challenges, such as gang activity, unhoused individuals, drug use, and lack of consistent free structure programming for youth. Families should feel safe, letting their kids play, but at Las Animas Park, there have been incidents where men attempted to grab children during Little League games and practices, and this is unacceptable. When there's no structure, no consistent presence, and no investment, kids are left vulnerable. Gilroy has also some of the highest poverty rates in the county, and our families are already stretched thin. Every dollar matters, every space matters, every program matters. We're doing everything we can and collaborating to share resources, but dedication alone is not enough.
Our next speaker is Nancy. Nancy, you will have 2 minutes. Please go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
My name is Nancy Vasquez, and I work with New Hope for Youth. First of all, I'd like to take the time to thank you guys for allowing us to participate in the public comment. Second, I would like to thank the NSU team for allowing us to partner with you and help elevate some of the community outreach events and things that we've done out there in the community in East Gilroy and as well as East San Jose. Some of the events that we have done, just to mention a few, specifically most recent was like the Christmas event that we did at Alexander Station. In a lot of those families, because we were able to partner with NSU and do a Christmas event there, that was going to be their only part of Christmas that they were able to celebrate. Some of the other events that we've also done is the gun violence safety and also Narcan, the use of Narcan to show how to use the use of Narcan when it comes to fentanyl overdoses in both communities as well. So yes, I would just like to say thank you for allowing us to participate in the NSU program and being able to elevate the events that we do for the underserved communities that we do serve. Thank you.
And our next speaker is Marilu Zepeda. Marilu, you have 2 minutes to speak. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Marilu Cepeda. I'm the Valley Palms Unidos coordinator. I want to shout out to our prevention department because they are helping the Valley Palms community to build better relationship with the neighbor. Through all the events, all the workshops and activities that they have done. I'm so happy for working with this amazing group because the residents can grow as a community leader, and we practice all the abilities that we have. And also, I want to mention that the all program that they have for the youth, helping the youth to stay busy and away from drugs and gams. And for next time, I will really appreciate if the Spanish speaker can have translation. So at that way, we can have better communication with you and all the team who are listen and they can have better understanding what we want in the community. Thank you for listening.
That concludes public comment.
Well, thank you so much, and I concur with the speaker. We should have translation, and most of the time we make every effort to provide that for our folks. And so if we know that we are going to bring folks in, or if you kind of estimate it, I know you can't ask
Point
people,
well
well, what
taken.
language?
I'm happy to translate too.
Yeah, and you did really well. Although I do want to say in Spanish, just to assure people that we are not talking about cutting the budget for NSU, although we are having budget reductions overall in all of our system. This is going to apply to every department. What that looks like for NSU, I don't know. I'm very protective of it. I do enjoy it, but I just want to say that to our folks. No sé si la señora, sí, todo está ahí. Mire, buenas tardes, muchísimas gracias por venir y por dar su testimonio. Estoy muy agradecida que usted esté dando de su tiempo, también compartiendo con la comunidad y sus hijos, ¿verdad? Dando permiso para que ellos participen. Esta tarde no estamos hablando del presupuesto, de cortar ninguna porción del presupuesto, pero sí conocemos que nuestro futuro incluye una reducción en todo el sistema, no nomás en este programa. Yo no sé cómo se va a impactar este programa, pero lo que yo dije en inglés es de que soy protectiva, me encanta este programa, lo quiero para mi distrito, lo quiero para las otras áreas del condado, y no quiero que se preocupe de que esto va a dejar de ser. Por el momento todavía estamos actuando todo igual, y yo sé que en mí usted va a tener una ¿cómo se dice? Luchadora, peleadora, no sé, pero me gusta el conflicto. No es que me guste, pero no me acobardo. Con que vamos a proteger los servicios de los jóvenes y de las familias es mi aseguranza que le quiero dar a usted hoy. So what I just added was that I do like a good fight, and I will always fight for our youth and families. And so I just assured her and the rest of the community that is called, and assuring that we are not talking about any budget reductions, but there are reductions coming in the future. Okay, I'm going to look to my left, and there is a red light. So go ahead, Co-Chair.
Thank you, Chair. First off, I want to begin by thanking our NSU staff, Myra, Roger, Susanna, Brenda. Thank you for bringing this annual report forward to the probation department, our NSU partners and community. Thank you for making the time to come provide public comment and your reflections to the program. Your work clearly shows in these pages, and it's evident how much you care, how much consistency and understanding you bring to the communities that you serve. I've had the privilege of experiencing NSU's work at Valley Palms. For that, I am grateful. And this is long-term work, as you've said, Myra, towards long-term systemic gains. It is more than just hosting events or setting up office hours. It is true partnerships built on bedrocks of trust over time that continues to grow. So as the kids say, no notes. Thank you. I appreciate you. I look forward to seeing more work, to experiencing more, being a partner. I'm neither good at karaoke nor pickleball, but I am enthusiastic about it. So I look forward to those opportunities. And Eduardo, just want to give a shout out. Congratulations on your fairly recent Employee Excellence recognition. That is quite the honor, and I'm so glad that you are part of these efforts, having our most excellent employees. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Supervisor Young.
Chair will allow applause for that recognition. Congrats.
Thank you, Chair. And with that, I make a motion to receive report.
And I will second that. Thank you. Thank you for doing that, Co-Chair. I'm just going to share that I started with the city of San Jose in a project called Project Blossom and Project Crackdown. Blossom is good, Crackdown is not the right kind of message we want to give to our community, but what it meant was we were cracking down on crime, on blight, on, vandalism, all of the things that deteriorate the dignity and the appearance and safety and well-being of a community, right? And so we did a lot of neighborhood organizing, and then, of course, a lot of activities with our youth and our children. And so this reminds me of that. Obviously, this is a completely different version. You are, 5.0 or maybe, 10.0 version, because that was a long time ago. But the city of San Jose brought those programs back, and we call them now Project Hope. Very appropriately, right? It was during that time where we had Scared Straight. You all know this, right? Because you all made a real quick U-turn on that approach in probation, based on research, of course. Anyways, I love place-based services. I love when relationships show up, as they did today, and talk about what it really means to them, what a service actually, what it translates to, right? Because this is a lot of really great information, but when somebody comes and gives their testimony, first of all, their time, and the insight that they have within their family or their neighborhood is very, it's a vulnerable place to speak from. And so I want to thank you for bringing folks in, or for asking folks, or I don't know how it happened, but I'm glad it happened. I think the whole board should hear what the neighborhood feels about NSU. I think you got believers here. Not to say that the other folks are not believers, but I think they need to hear the same kind of messaging so that they understand what it actually really means when we're trying to change, we're trying to create change for a community, right? We need these kinds of investments. And we're seeing it in programs like, not programs, but a pilot project that we're doing with the city of San Jose with the Child and Youth Master Plan and those place-based, neighborhood-based interventions and support systems. Did you wanted to say something?
No, just thank you so much for your sentiments and your comments. We did invite folks to the meeting, but it wasn't a deep coordinated effort, but we're really happy that communities here and folks shared their statements as well.
Oh, I love it. No, listen, it's not a dig. I do the same thing when I want folks to know about the greatness of what someone is doing, or a program or a service is doing. We need to hear that, and it's not very often that folks come to the county. It's a little bit out of everybody's way, right, over here on Heading, because unless you're going to the courts or the jail, you're no business over here, right? No business. And so I love it when people actually go out of their way and come here and share. So I am going to ask some questions. Sorry. You know me. Okay, so one of the things that I was wondering was, can we maybe refer, we talked earlier, and all of these items are, closely linked with one another, right? We talked about a pilot project in the school system and how well that is going, and I wonder if those families didn't know about NSU, although I find it really hard because in a small town like Gilroy or Morgan Hill, everybody knows everybody and everything.
Can I ask
a
clarifying question?
Sure.
Of which pilot programs?
The school-based social worker pilot program.
Mariel will handle.
That's DFCS's program, right? So maybe we'll let you finish what you were going to state. And I think
they were trying to figure out. They were going to figure out whether we were asking. I was asking, well, how do we know we were doing well? And we talked about some indicators and that would show that kids are doing well. And of course, we want to take referrals or reports of abuse when things happen, right? We don't want to, just because we're there doesn't mean we should have less reports. We should have the reports, but we should facilitate those reports. And so a lot of the times what was happening, or not a lot of the times, so what Sarah was saying is that there's two categories. One is an actual referral for an abuse or for resources. And if there is a referral for a resource to support the family, could we, from DFCS, refer from, I know the concept is not huge, but but sometimes our systems kind of, we all do our own thing.
Yes.
How can we integrate that?
We actually, so today at the schools county collaborative, we really talked about that coordination more efficiently, about how we can do that together. And so I do think you're gonna be seeing more integration and coordination between various county departments, and really identifying who is serving this so that we're not overwhelming families with multiple case managers, multiple services, but that the right agency or organization is serving the family at the level that they need, right? So we do this in NSU by partnering with the schooling services coordinators at the schools at Gilroy Unified, but we are going to be more actively working directly with the social worker at Gilroy as well, so that we all know what each other is doing, but also that we're not overwhelming the family with referrals to different programs. Very well, point well taken, and I think we are starting to figure out how to do that better.
Perfect. Okay. And then I'll have a follow-up conversation, because I know that it's important for us to not overwhelm families, but I think there's also sometimes there is guard railing from school administrators of their families, right? And I don't know that we should really, these families belong to all of us, and we should be able to serve them. So anyways, I'm just afraid of a little gatekeeping is all.
If I can also highlight as well, we also do work with a social worker in the community in East Gilroy, Patty Pena. We coordinate
Yes, of course.
often with
Yeah.
her. In fact, the traffic safety, we collaborated with DFCS. We do want to hopefully uplift a conversation about education for parents of how to not touch the DFCS system, and supports for parents when that does happen with cultural brokers.
That's wonderful. I love that. And then I'll want to talk to you all about, yesterday I had coffee hours, so they kicked us out of the library because there were so many, there's too many people, and it took me too long, and we ran out of time. They needed it for literacy programs, so happily stepped out. Anyways, there was a parent who came in and talked about how difficult it was for him to set up a business, a small business. And so I know that's part of the economic development that you all do. And then you know that we reestablished the economic development department, and we had a meeting earlier today to discuss agritourism, but it's not exclusive just to agritourism. If there was a need for small business growth in certain areas of our community, then I think this is where we can also elevate and fill the gaps if there's any gaps.
Please do refer folks to us. We do have the Sunday Friends Foundation that is providing, education workshops on how to create your own business, from creating a business plan to then executing that. And they also have a Dream Build program in which they take folks and take them through a more thorough training. And the Mercaditos also showcase, each person has the opportunity to showcase their business, and they actually give awards from the first, second, and third place. We can also provide grants specifically to certain communities, small grants, of course, so that they can get their business started as well.
Oh, that is amazing. Okay, that sounds wonderful. Well, we have grants. Well, I don't know how much we will have this year for our district-specific grants, and sometimes we do. I've given to almost every year to groups like Prosperity Lab or our business association to give grants to small businesses. And so I think we probably need to coordinate so that we are not duplicating our services either, right? These are going to be hard, lean times. Okay, I'm going to move on from that, and thank you so much. We'll connect offline. I was wondering if, the other piece is, how do we determine which schools Bossy goes to? I hope they don't say wherever the Bossy girls are at.
Yes, they are priority neighborhoods, and also we included in the report that the Ellen Rock schools that were closed, Bossy followed those children to those schools, and the children were worried that they were going to lose the Bossy services. Fortunately, then when Bossy showed up at the campus, they were so happy to see them and happy that they could participate in the programs.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, so there was no loss, and they just continue with their kind of in a certain place, and they just stay there. That's fine. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, and I'm not sure. We'll have to go back and find out if Bossy serves Gilroy or South County, because I actually don't have that information. Right now, they're not serving.
At this time, they're not serving the Gilroy community. However, through the schools that we do support in Gilroy, we did partner with America Scores, and they provide structured play. And the reason why that happened is because during recess and sometimes after school, there were issues that were coming up on campus. And so we partnered with the principals and said, okay, what can we do? And this is one of the programs that we identified to have more structured play. And it's working out really great.
Yeah. Well, I participate in the South County Youth Task Force, and sometimes they bring us the data, and this is, I think, 2 months ago. I saw data of the number of fights were really high, but the number of suspensions and expulsions was relatively stable, right? And so, and I'm not looking for our kids to get expelled or suspended, but then it makes me wonder, then what interventions, and not to say that suspensions intervention, I mean, it's last effort, right? But what are they bringing in order to manage that? Because to your point, there's things that have been happening in Gilroy, and especially fights, right? And we can talk about this a little bit more offline, but Mariel, did you want to include something on that? Oh, okay. All right, the last part is have we ever done an analysis where we see, or is there ever a tracking or question that is posed in an assessment when a kiddo gets a probation referral and they have an assessment or an intake? Is the question ever asked, did you participate in NSU activities?
That's not a direct question like that. Our assessments are standardized, so we use the juvenile assessment and intervention system created by Evident Change. So we have not specifically asked that question when a young person gets referred to probation as part of an assessment process. Our system isn't really developed to track that, but it is something we could look into for the future. We are working on a new case management system to see what other services families have received. We do track all the other programs and services that they get while they're on probation, but not necessarily what prevention efforts were provided to them previously.
Yeah, in the absence of that, it may tell us a story, right, that indeed NSU is working in a very kind of backward way. Okay, those are my questions. Those are my questions. I really would love to hear in any future reports if there's any gaps that you feel that you've been dealing with that you really wouldn't want to be greater for our community because of budget reductions that are coming up. That would be really important for us to know. And then what is the loss? What is the impact to the community and to your programs based on any reductions? I want to know specifically for this.
Absolutely. We will, for future reports, talk about that. And then I just also wanted to mention, we met with Greta last week just to talk a little bit about kind of the future of NSU and are working behind the scenes to identify sustained funding for some of these services and trying to figure out how we might work together with our other county partners that are doing similar work in other communities to see how we can also integrate this more effectively into the Children's and Families Master Plan, because we're part of it, but we're not one of the sites.
Right.
And so different things like that. So, you know, I know these are not mandated services. So, of course, there is no identified funding source for it moving forward. It used to be general fund. It's now funded by sort of more flexible funding, but again, that funding, as you know, is being prioritized differently. So we are actively working all together to try to figure out how we can maintain the level of service that we're providing now.
Got it. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. That concludes my questions and my comments. I just want to thank everybody for attending, for your testimony, for all the hard work that we don't get to see, but that you invest in our communities and in our youth. And I'm sure that we are going to reap the benefits, and the parents are going to do so just as well. So thank you so much for all the work of the stakeholders and parents and all the folks who might be online. All right. Okay, I think we can move on.
Vote, okay. Vice Chairperson Young?
Ooh, who is that?
Yes. And Chairperson Arenas?
Yes. Okay.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Perfect. All right, we are going to move on. And we are, okay, item number 8 is deferred to a future date. And then we have item number 9, which is receive quarterly report from the Office of County Executive relating to the county response to federal actions.
Good afternoon, Chairperson Arenas and Vice Chairperson Young. Ana Lilia Garcia, I'm the Director of the Division of Equity and Social Justice and the Chief Equity Officer. I am proudly joined by my county colleagues to present to you an update on the county response to federal actions. There are a number of us represented here in chambers, and I believe we have Maria Leticia Gomez via Zoom. I would like for my colleagues to briefly introduce themselves, and I will start to my right.
Good afternoon, Julie Ramirez, Manager for the Division of Equity and Social Justice.
Monica Tong with Intergovernmental Relations.
Kimberly Alvarenga, Office of Immigrant Relations.
And Hannah Godby with the County Council's Office.
And gymnast. All right, go ahead, ladies.
Thank you. I believe we have Sarah Duffy as well.
Ooh, of course.
And Maria Leticia Gomez via Zoom. As you can see by the representation today here in Chamber, this is a multifaceted approach that involves different operations from across the county to be most responsive. So today, our goal is to provide you with a brief update on the legal actions, the legislative efforts, the community partnerships, and the children, families, and advocacy work, as well as an update on our One County, One Future media campaign. I will now invite Hannah Goodby to share an update and to kick us off with the presentation. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having us. I'm just going to give a quick summary of our litigation efforts in this space. So far, our efforts have focused primarily on 2 buckets. One is sort of direct efforts to protect our community from unlawful actions by the Trump administration. And the second bucket is really focused on protecting the county's ability to continue to be sort of an example of good government, protecting our ability to do our core work. And so that includes things like protecting our federal funding streams, but also protecting our workforce needs, both our own county workforce through protecting against efforts to overhaul the public service loan forgiveness program, but also the federal workforce that we rely on when we serve members of the community. So the list we have here is defending birthright citizenship, opposing efforts to exclude undocumented folks from being counted in the census, protecting the use of local resources towards local needs rather than federal civil immigration enforcement, protecting against the unlawful decimation of federal government workforce and federal agencies, protecting against grant conditions that would try to force the county's hand with respect to things like diversity, equity, and inclusion, LGBTQ, abortion and immigrants' rights, opposing efforts that would hamstring our ability to provide housing support to the community, and the public service loan forgiveness lawsuit that I mentioned. So those are our primary litigation efforts so far in the space that have ranged from the couple of weeks after the Trump administration came into power, the few months, and then the first year. Thank you.
Good afternoon,
All good. In partnership with Council and the Legislative Affairs team, Intergovernmental Relations has continued our focus on budget advocacy, particularly now with the release of the governor's budget proposal on January 9th and the lack of support for H.R. 1 implementation. We are working on not only protection of funding, but also streams of funding for our public hospitals. We will continue to work on implementation of the board-approved legislative platform that was before you in November 2025. And a lot of our work on the legislative advocacy side is ensuring information privacy, as well as clarifying in state law that everyone has access to county resources. So working very closely with council and ensuring that our advocacy efforts are both proactive and reactive. So thank you very much, and I'll turn it over to Kim.
Good afternoon, Supervisor Arenas and Supervisor Young. Kimberly Alvarenga. I joined the Office of Immigrant Relations in November of 2025 as Program Manager 2. I'd love to share an overview of our work with community partners this fiscal year, beginning with some numbers that illustrate the need in our community as well as the hard work of community-based organizations, and then move into some engagement strategies that keep DESJ in tune with emerging trends and strengthen our community partnerships. This year, we're partnering with 25 community-based organizations through 33 contracts with a total investment of just over $8 million. These funds support the immigrant community through legal services, outreach and education, and emergency response. The goal is simple: make sure immigrant communities have access to the help that they need when they need it. In July of 2025, we implemented a new quarterly report template, which will help us capture better information on the work that community partners are doing. As you can see, in the first quarter, more than 4,000 individuals were provided with immigrant-related support services. Next slide. Maintaining good and strong communication and relationship with every service provider is a high priority for the Office of Immigrant Relations during these times. The OIR team has been meeting with service providers on a monthly basis to share and receive information and resources across organizations. This quarter, OIR has conducted in-person listening sessions with community organizations, including members of the asylee and refugee communities and legal services providers. The purpose of these sessions is to identify trends, track changes, including identifying evolving needs. Additionally, the OIR team has started meeting bi-monthly with the Santa Clara Rapid Response Network to stay in close communication and receive key updates. We continue to attend ongoing quarterly rapid response network meetings as well. We have also established monthly meetings with County Council to consult on matters relating to immigration. OIR continues to participate in the Immigrant Protection and Empowerment Network, including co-chairing the Intergovernmental Work Group and attending monthly network meetings. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Sarah Duffy, Deputy Director, SSA. So SSA has been doing quite a bit of work in terms of supporting families and children as we face a lot of the impacts of the current administration as it relates to immigration. Some of the probably the most critical work has to do with activities to support children who may be separated from their families, and we do have our child welfare director here who has been really central in identifying suitable and available resource families, engaging with the IPEN and RRN providers that we just heard about to help inform impacted communities, and ensuring there's tailored support to offer trauma-informed care. The DFCS staff have been very passionate about this work and very proactive. They've held a number of information sessions with social workers and caregivers on communicating immigration resources to youth and families, and also have been really good at kind of bi-directional communication up to leadership and out to families and communities on what they're seeing. So they've been really good stewards of information. We also have our DEBS director, Ilona, here, and she's been leading quite a bit of enhanced outreach for children and families under the expanded California Medi-Cal program, as well as very much focusing on continuing enrollment and outreach for all eligible CalFresh children and families in advance of the work requirement implementation, doing quite a bit of connection with the state and tracking everything that's happening on that level. We also have some really helpful resources, FAQs online, around immigration, as well as a fact sheet on the HR1 impacts to children and families for public distribution. The latter was created by our Office of Children and Families in partnership with Kids in Common, and has been a great resource with a kind of easy to understand overview of that work. So from all kind of corners of the agency, we've been very much monitoring and trying to engage with community and clients as effectively as possible.
Good afternoon, supervisors. Leticia Gomez, Director of Communications and Public Affairs. The media campaign, One County, One Future, came to an end. As directed by the board, we paid all invoices and closed all contracts by December 31, 2025. As part of the campaign, Telemundo ran 6 Spanish language commercials produced by OCPA on their TV station and online for a period of 6 months. Univision also ran the ads for 6 months on 2 TV stations, 3 radio stations, their website, and a mobile app. And Better World Advertising, BWA, produced posters and postcards that we distributed throughout Santa Clara County. BWA also handled media buys to place our campaign on VTA stations, buses, light rail over a period of 6 months, and we have 2 highly visible billboards up for 4 months on Highway 101 North and South. The One County, One Future materials were also placed in shopping malls and convenience stores. We had digital ads on Google, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We had in-language ads on local radio, online, and print publications. And I gave English and Spanish language interviews to local news stations. While all of the above sunset at the end of 2025, OCPA produced the One County, One Future website with important resources for the immigrant, LGBTQ+, and disabled community. The website is in English, Spanish, Vietnamese, Chinese, Tagalog, and Punjabi, and we continue to promote it on the county's social media accounts. You can find the webpage under scc.info/more, scc.info/more. With that, I toss it back to Dr. Ana Lilia Garcia. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That concludes our update. We are happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you so much. We will go to the public comment first and see if we have any.
We currently have one request to speak online.
Okay, let's give them a minute.
A minute, okay. 1 moment, we'll just adjust the clock. In the meantime, our speaker is Paul Soto. Paul, we are unmuting you. You'll have 1 minute to speak. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Paul Soto from the Horseshoe. Now, that's not democracy, lowering the amount of time that the public can weigh in on these issues. I don't think that looks like democracy. But of course, it's your prerogative to do it. You just did it, so that's on you. Thank you for the report. What I find conspicuously absent from your report is that you think that the immigrant community is the only community that is in need of protection. And they're not. There are Chicanos. I know this sounds crazy, okay, but there are Chicanos that live here in San Jose that do self-identify as Chicanos, and that is conspicuously absent from your report. Secondly, a lot of the monies that is going towards these particular groups, these community-based organizations, those are not necessarily the best informative base by which to receive information because they are paid employees by the county and the city. Pull their grant allocation and let's see if they support your policies.
That concludes public comment.
Thank you. Co-chair?
Yeah, thank you so much for that comprehensive overview of the work thus far. Welcome, Kim, to our county organization. You come into a very critical role during a very critical time, and the landscape continues to change. So I really would like to hear if there's any high-level overviews or perspectives that can be shared, because the first tranche of funding has been issued, and I believe we're preparing for another RFP, right?
As of now, that's still being considered.
Oh, it's still being considered. Okay. So what I really would like to get at is that what considerations are being taken into account considering the changing landscape of where we are right now, especially on the immigration front with what we're seeing in the news every single day. And what we're seeing is a military authority that supersedes even our own constitution at this point. And that could cause local government to feel almost helpless, but I know that's not our jam here in Santa Clara County. So I'm not trying to put anybody on the spot, but it's a timely discussion that I really would love to hear your perspectives on, any indications of how we're approaching this.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your question. I think that's an excellent question, and I would love to invite Kim. I know that she's been meeting with our community partners, has been hearing directly some of that impact, for example, from the Rapid Response Network, as just examples of what they're observing, what they're feeling and hearing, and how to be most responsive and pivot in this moment. So I would love to invite her to come in and share a few thoughts.
Thank you, supervisors. I think it has been a privilege to be able to listen to community that's doing the work and being impacted on the ground. To your comment, it is a changing moment by moment. I would say that the fear runs very deep in every sector, every area, with every community. I highlighted the legal services providers that are being decimated. Their funding has been cut at the federal level. Their funding has been cut by foundations, and they're worried about whether we're going to fund them or not. They're losing attorneys faster than they can turn around, and then they're choosing not to be able to rehire attorneys because they don't have any funding. So essentially, the immigration system is being destroyed right before us, and it's a very difficult situation for those trying to provide basic services. The legal services providers have asked that we consider longer-term funding in terms of the impact on community. When I had the listening session with the asylee and the refugee community, because of the federal cuts on programs that serve them, they are in deep fear right now. They are being re-vetted, so they by force have to check in with ICE by force. And on top of that, they're suffering housing insecurity because they've lost access to housing, food insecurity because they've lost SNAP benefits. We're on the verge of losing other benefits and essentially have nowhere to turn. They're afraid to go stand in line at food banks because they don't want to be caught by ICE. So just from what I'm hearing directly from community members in terms of the challenges that I can share publicly.
I appreciate that, Kim. Hannah, not trying to put you on the spot, but looking to our legal counsel if there's any sense legally what we can do on that front, in particular with ICE's escalation of violence.
Yeah, so one thing I can share is that we have been part of supporting communities across the country that have been experiencing these deployments and sort of mass immigration activities through what we call amicus briefs, friend of the court briefs. So we have filed several of those as the Trump administration has targeted our neighbors. And we have done a lot of preparation to see, if that kind of activity comes to our neighborhoods as well.
And supervisors, just to add in terms of the communication through rapid response, we're learning that at least in our area, the arrests have evolved and they've moved from neighborhoods to the courts and to the check-ins. So at this point, there isn't necessarily a targeted approach on our streets, but it really is forcing those to go to check-ins and making sure to target communities. We've also learned that the communities that are targeted and arrested at check-ins really reflect what is happening internationally and nationally, national politics as well. So we see the Colombian community, the Venezuelan community, the Afghan community being arrested when they go to basic check-ins. So there is a correlation.
Thank you. I know that we don't have resolution today, but I really appreciate the very sobering and very, very real reflections. Turning to our SSA team and with Debs and Ilona, I know that public charge has, the discussion over public charge has reared its ugly head again. And I'm wondering, let me just say this. Last time this became an issue tied to immigration, I thought the county did an incredible job communicating and engaging our clients to be able to affirm that we were not subscribing to this rhetoric. And that we were monitoring closely at the federal level, that we were suing the heck out of the federal administration. So just wanted to get a sense of whether those conversations have re-emerged itself. Oh no.
Okay, can you hear me now? Yeah, we have not heard from our clients the same concerns as we had before, or from the advocates that we work with, but our messaging continues to be the same regardless if we hear from our clients or not, that we are here to serve them. We're actually making, and I know it's on the agenda for our outreach, but we're making extra effort with the population that's being targeted by the federal government to say we're here for you, turn in your verifications. With our Medi-Cal-only population, the outreach that we do, aside from the notices that normally go out, we do about 6 or 7 direct outreach to this client. Debs alone does that. And then we have our partners that outreach to them to get them to say, hey, we're here. We want you to stay on benefit. Let us help you stay on benefit. So that our messaging on that has not changed, but we have not heard anything new that there's this fear in the community.
Thank you, Lana. That's encouraging to hear. So thank you for your presentation. I'm looking at our panelists here, and you ladies are in the eye of the storm. I know that there will be more conversations to be had and more updates that our offices will continue to receive. Thank you, and Godspeed.
Thank you so much, Co-Chair. Actually, you brought up some really good points in how our system interacts with our community in a very different way and on a daily basis, and taking the temperature, I think, is really important. And because, to your point, Kim, that ICE is evolving, we should also pivot, right? We should pivot with strategies and to figure out I don't know what the best messaging is for our partners, but I think collectively we can figure those pieces out, right? With our county council, with our rapid response network, with IPEN, because I think it's important to have the right level of response not to raise the anxiety for folks, because as we know, you raise anxiety and the fear, and people start making decisions that are fear-based and might not be the best thing for themselves and for their children. So without raising the alarm too much, I think we should talk about how we are going to message and how we are going to support regionally and countywide our partners. I know that we've had some conversations just recently, and Hannah, I believe you're going to follow up on those questions. But we are also going to have to evolve and figure out how do we do that. And right when you started, my team was telling me about this 5-year-old who was used to open the door for their parents so that they can all get detained. And this is the 4th child, or makes him the 4th child, that was detained in Minneapolis. And so there is no low bar. There is no low bar. We know what is happening. I'm really grateful that we are extending ourselves in the way that we can across our nation to support legally. And if there was anything, I don't know what we could do in terms of resources. It feels like when there's a fire in California, we all share resources and we go and we save and we help. But at this point, it feels very helpless. Because we're just waiting for our turn. We have our own challenges. And I don't know what the answer is, but it feels very helpless. And just to continue, it's like when somebody is getting tortured on the other side of the room, you're just anticipating that torture coming your way. So I don't mean to weigh this heavier than what it already is on us, but I think we need to begin to think how we pivot our messaging and how we support our stakeholders differently. And if this different round of RFP happens, that we take that into account so that people can be more agile and more able to move and pivot with whatever it is that we need to do.
Thank you so much for your reflections, supervisors. And while we don't have an answer on the funding question, what we can share and highlight is the importance of partnerships, the importance of collaborations, the importance of centering our communities that are most impacted in this moment. In this case, we're speaking about our immigrant communities and the opportunities to work across the cities, opportunities to work regionally, looking at examples of mutual aid, collaboration, and partnership. We live in a very fluid region. What happens here in this county impacts San Mateo, Alameda. So those conversations, I think, is where we can anchor and hold some hope, resistance, and opportunity for action, because our communities are under attack, our immigrant communities are under attack. And we do have to think creatively. We do have to think about opportunities for sharing of resources as we are experiencing a shrinking of those resources due to our structural deficit and the impacts, the federal impacts that are having a direct impact locally to our most vulnerable in our immigrant communities in this case. So I do appreciate your leadership and asking very important questions. I do appreciate the work that Kim is leading in terms of centering and listening directly from our nonprofit partners, listening directly to our immigrant communities, understanding those trends, because it's such an evolving situation.
I think that's very key. And may I add, I think checking in with each other, just like with social services or some of our community clinics, and it doesn't even have to be our community clinics. It could be Gardner, it could be anybody else. Those folks that usually get a high flux of foot traffic on to their organizations, so we can figure out, are people actually, is there a reduction? Is there a reduction in appointments? Is there a reduction in visits? Is there, are kids actually going to school? Are they not going to school? I think we need to just start really putting some data points on this so that we can see the shift in our community, right? because I don't think anybody's tracking it. And the loss of our community is those folks who are the backbone of our communities will be gone, and you won't even know it. We won't know it. They'll just disappear. Nobody's telling us where they go. We will know when the schools continue to close, but we won't know if it was because of loss of a job or because they just got disappeared. Anyways, I think it's important for us to just have some data points, and I don't have the answer to that, but I know that you are the leaders out in our community within this this topic, and I appreciate all that you have done. There's so much already on your shoulders. I just think that we need to figure out where is our community moving, and I'm glad, Kim, you're having those conversations. Let's put some data points to it and figure out, are the way that people feeling matching with appointments, attendance? You know, let's just figure that piece out a little bit more.
It's a good opportunity, Supervisor Arenas, like when we have the monthly check-ins with our community partners that provide services and legal support, outreach and education and direct legal services, and really be able to lift up what we're hearing and communicate that across department in order to fill the gaps or address the pivoting that you just have been talking about.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, we will continue to stand strong, and you will count on your leadership, because I know that you've done lots and lots of wonderful work, and I'm just eternally grateful. With that, we will have a motion.
Motion to receive report.
And I will second that.
Okay, Vice Chairperson Young
Yes.
and Chairperson Arenas.
Yes.
Thank you, motion passes.
Wonderful. So we're going to take the next item this way. I know you usually, and thank you, ladies, usually we go down the row, and what I'm going to ask now, because we are coming to a close, is if anybody wants to share a quarterly report, as we have had quite a bit of reports. Oh my gosh, it snuck up on me behind, yes. Well, listen, I'm still going to do item 9 this way. So if you have something to report, you can just share it. We don't have to go down the row and ask folks to share the report. This is for item 9, and then we'll end with item 10.
So this is for item 19, I think, the announcements.
No, I know that, but this is item 9.
We just did item 9.
No. Clerk, tell us where we're at, because I
Okay,
thought.
so we just finished item number 9, which is the county response to federal actions. So we do have item 10, which is
Oh, you know
the
what? I'm
quarterly
so
report.
sorry. Mine is printed, I think, with an earlier version. So the 9 is the reports from everyone. And I have an item 10. Okay, so let's see.
Okay, so would you want to go to the low-income beneficiary outreach efforts report?
Yes,
or
let's do item 10.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, no, this one's the right version, but this one's the wrong one. Sorry. Okay, so let's go. Thank you so much. I'm like, but I'm reading it right here. All right, so got it. I apologize. I had 2 versions of the agenda. Okay, so we're going to move to all right, so we're going to move to item 10, which is receiving the quarterly report of Department of Employment and Benefit Services relating to outreach efforts to low-income beneficiaries. Where are we? Oh, thank you, ladies. Thank you for your patience. I've seen you out in the audience. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Supervisor Arenas, Ilona Betcolia, Director. Sorry.
Oh my God, I feel terrible that you're here.
I have my backups here to do the talking.
Sorry.
Director for DEBS, and I'll pass it on to my colleagues who can introduce themselves.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Aidel Villarreal, and I'm the manager for the Program and Policy Bureau. and Debs at SSA.
Press it harder? Oh, hit the thing. All right. Good afternoon. Roseanne Berthrana-Rechka. I am a business policy implementation specialist with primary focus on outreach and communications.
We don't have a presentation for you all, but we wanted to open it up in case you have any questions, comments for us.
Well, before we do that, we'll go to public comment and see if we have any input there.
We currently do not have any requests to speak.
Go ahead, Co-Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Just want to extend my appreciation to Debs and the team. The committed effort you've undertaken to engage with our priority populations and our clients to make sure that they follow up with their applications and make sure that they're completing all their documents and enrolling as necessary. And I think that, is there a partnership with the health and hospital system as well, since there's a lot of overlap amongst our Medi-Cal clients?
Yes, we do partner with Health and Hospital System. We've actually collaborated with them so that they are actually doing warm outreach calls on our behalf to outreach to the undocumented population in Medi-Cal, so that they can turn in their missed applications, sorry, not applications, redeterminations, or complete their applications that they submitted prior to January.
Yeah, I really appreciate the extra effort made to make sure that folks were submitting their applications prior to January 1st, 2026. It seemed almost like you could, like there was a cutoff that you can make. Could you share a little bit about how those outreach efforts went?
So we're still tracking those applications, Supervisor, because the applications are still being processed. And we'll have to compare the numbers to previous year, because as you know, was during an open enrollment period as well, where we see an uptick in our applications coming in anyhow for Medi-Cal. So we're tracking those numbers, but the outreach effort that we did with Health and Hospital that Idel was mentioning is they were looking at clients that had fallen off of aid, so they were past their period of coming back to comply with redetermination, because they get 90 days. So the ones that they had no path but to reapply, they were engaging those clients, making contacts with them, asking them to come back and apply. So we're tracking that data. We'll continue to do our outreach, because the clients that had redetermination due in December, they still have 90 days to comply and keep their full scope benefit. So we've upped our outreach, but to the point that Supervisor Arenas was making earlier, how much of outreach do we do where we don't scare people into actually coming in, and how much of a warm? So engaging our partners and CBO partners is key for us, because if they're constantly seeing these clients, they may have a different relationship than a government entity reaching out to them saying, turn in something. So that's where our focus is. How do we sort of shift our messaging where it's a warmer message and clients take us seriously, that you do have to turn it in, because otherwise you'll lose your full scope benefits.
Yeah, thank you for that. I would love to be a partner on the messaging as well, as I assume that my colleagues would. So I'd like to make a request for information. If you could send it offline to our offices, just letting us know about that 90-day window, what's the messaging we want to put out there, how to, like, and also the right talking points so that we're speaking the same language in terms of complete your documents, complete your enrollment, or complete your redetermination. There is still time to be able to have full coverage as you've always experienced it before this, before 2027 hits. Whatever we can get in there, I'd really appreciate that.
And Supervisor, I'll jump in to maybe spare Ilona.
Thank you,
They did,
Ilona.
the Debs team did put together a really helpful one-page talking points for both of you, in case you're out in the community and you get questions, as well as some of the flyers that we've been providing. So if you didn't get those to the offices, we'll make sure to get those over.
Oh, thank you so much. Being ahead of the curve there. So looking forward to it. And I know this is not exactly related to the report, but in the same vein, just want to give props to our data sharing outreach efforts, partnership pilot, all the wonderful words that we can use to describe it with between DEBS and SEPA, and making sure that folks who are eligible for discounted rates, county services, are signing on for that because of their existing engagement with through DEBS and social services. So I checked in with SEPA before today's presentation, and from this partnership, this outreach partnership with DEBS and SEPA, we have seen 23 new customers enrolled in our discounted programs in District West, 33 new customers enrolled in District South, and 106 new customers enrolled in District East. So congratulations, Ilona, to you and your team, and thank you for undertaking that pilot, that data sharing pilot with SEPA.
Thank you. Yes, we're definitely open to partnering with whoever offers anything to our clients, because as we've said before, we need to stretch the very minimal dollars they receive. So discounted programs is what we're for, and wanting to get that out to our clients.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. And you know, at our county, good work gets rewarded with more good work. And I know that as we, I'm going to take you up on that offer as we move towards, move forward with more programs, county services, and seeing where it aligns with benefit rates and just other incentives for our existing clients in the DEBS social services side to be able to avail themselves of on other county services side, especially as we have to head into a time where our folks are going to have to make dollars stretch even further than they were stretching in the first place. So thank you so much. I have no more questions, just great appreciation. I'll make a motion to receive the report with that request of further information, also in addition to the materials that Daniel will be providing. Thank you.
And I'll second that. And the only additional question I have is, for families who were mixed status, did you see maybe those families a little more hesitant in re-enrolling?
We have not seen that in our data, Supervisor Arenas, but we did the same outreach if they were in a mixed household. As long, even if there was one undocumented individual in a household, or I don't know what to call it, excessive outreach continued for that household as well. So like those 7 additional outreach happened for our mixed households as well.
Got it. Okay. All right. And well, listen, people can take it as, hopefully it's not anxiety-ridden, but just that people care, and the county hasn't forgotten. So I'm sure that that's the messaging you're coming across with your outreach.
Yeah, we haven't, our fear was what you had stated earlier. Yeah. Are we doing too much? Are we going to prevent them? But we haven't gotten calls that says, stop texting me, I don't want the benefits, or stop calling
helping me.
Yeah, so, I mean, we'll take it. We want to do our part to ensure that the message gets out, and whether, you know, hopefully it's not too much, but it's our job to get the message out and sort of shut down the other messages of telling them to stay home, don't get on benefits.
Yeah, no, that's great. And you know what's, hopefully that counters, right, those other messages, and it tells them, hey, you belong here, you deserve these benefits, you're part of our community, continue to participate, right? Hopefully that's translated somehow in whatever number of outreach. Listen, when you're dealing with families and community, there is no minimum. You have to call, and then you build that trust, right? And it might happen after the 4th call, right? And you might think, well, they're not interested. No, they're waiting to see. Are you going to give up on them, or are you going to continue, right? So thank you for not giving up on them, and for continuing on. All right. Okay, so Camille.
Okay. Vice Chairperson Yung?
Yes.
And Chairperson Arenas?
Okay. I think I have the right next item. Don't take bets. But is item 19, and this is announcements. We won't go down the whole line. If you want to just let us know if there's any announcements. No on this side.
Supervisor,
See how I noticed you first? Yes.
I have just a few quick items.
Awesome.
So our intern and intern program at DEBS was selected as a 2025 recipient of the California State Association of Counties Challenge Award. Really wanted to
Nice.
celebrate our DEBS and Employment Services staff for being recognized for their vision, creativity, and commitment to solving community challenges. So team will be getting that award at the CSAC Challenge Awards dinner in Sacramento in February.
Awesome.
And then,
Hold on, I'm going to do applause, even though it's just us.
and then last month, the Department of Aging and Adult Services hosted a successful Seniors Agenda Network Summit at the Campbell Community Center with 120 people in attendance. The topic was intersectionality in aging. The event brought together county workers and aging service professionals to jointly think about how age compounds other characteristics and makes it hard to thrive. So with that, it's my updates.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Is anybody in the spirit of sharing? It's okay.
Supervisor,
Where are we?
I did.
Oh,
I
you
do
trick me
have
every
one
time,
because
Maria.
Dan reminded me. So the probation department, in partnership with Custody Health Services, has received also a CSAC Challenge Award for our peer health education. Special shout out to Dr. Shelley Agarwal, who created this program and piloted it with the youth at the James Ranch, and it's youth from our Youth Advisory Council, and it's been a great addition to kind of teach, so peer health, so basically kids are teaching kids about health issues.
Oh,
It's awesome.
nice. And who was that doctor?
Dr. Shelley Agarwal, she's our head pediatrics
Awesome.
doctor in custody health at the juvenile hall.
Well, congratulations, and you get an applause too. The chair will allow it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, and thank you for your patience on some of the mishaps for the numbering. But what we got is we got the work done. So this is the end of our meeting. I'm adjourning it, and we'll see you next month. Thank you, everyone.